tobacco. From today, breaches can attract a fine of up to $1.5 million. That covers advertising tobacco products, selling without a licence, sales to a minor, and sales of illicit tobacco or possession for the purpose of sale. And there are new offences regarding e-cigarettes. The new penalties come in the wake of SAPOL's Operation Eclipse, a task force focused on the state's illicit tobacco war.
And tonight's Powerball is worth $100 million. SA is home to Australia's biggest individual lottery winner, a man who scored $150 million in May this year. The winning ticket was sold at the OTR in Salisbury. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get a free fuel card with a new Triton, Pajero, Outlander or Eclipse from Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with cricket, and Tasmanian all-rounder Bo Webster is set to be called into the Australian Test squad as cover for Mitch Marsh, who went into the first test against India slightly underdone. The second test gets underway in Adelaide next week. Meantime, Indian bowler Jasper Bumrah has risen back to the top of the ICC's Test bowling rankings on the back of his dominant performance during the opening test in Perth. And in the WBBL, the Sydney Thunder have booked a place in the Women's Big Bash Grand Final qualifier. The Thunder will take on the Brisbane Heat in Brisbane tomorrow. That's after they beat the Hobart Hurricanes by 6 wickets overnight. Well, golfer Cameron Smith has slammed the Australian Open organisers. The tournament gets underway this morning, and Smith has rejected suggestions the rain is to blame for the soft and slow conditions.
It just seems like it's been left this way for a reason, and I think it's going to continue to be like that, to be honest. This is probably the softest and slowest I've seen a sandbelt golf course, which is not ideal, particularly for Aussies that love coming down here and being creative.
In Formula One, an agreement has been reached to keep the Italian Grand Prix at Monza until at least 2031. And plenty of European Champions League action on again this morning, with Aston Villa set to host Juventus, while Liverpool will take on defending champions Real Madrid. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
A cloudy day heading for 23, a possible late shower tomorrow 25, a possible shower Saturday 24 and cloud clearing on Sunday 26. At the moment 15. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Over the past decade, FIVEAA has helped raise over $1 million for Variety SA, the children's charity.
This year we continue our support of Variety and want to introduce you to some of the children your kind donations go towards supporting.
On Friday the 29th of November, tune in to FIVEAA from 6 a.m. with David and Will, and throughout the rest of the day you can bid for amazing items and also donate much needed funds going to help kids in need.
You cannot afford to miss this opportunity on what will be a truly special day, all thanks to Variety SA and $13.95 Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Today we're making Medicare stronger with more investment in bulk billing, enhanced support for mental health and more urgent care clinics. Learn more about Medicare benefits at medicare.gov.au/stronger. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Visit Jarvis Toyota's brand new undercover home in Brighton Road, Somerton Park, and take advantage of savings across the Toyota certified pre-owned range. Enjoy the same feeling you get with a new Toyota at Jarvis, with all certified pre-owned vehicles tested and backed by Toyota, including a full service history and 90-point safety check. Toyota certified pre-owned, in a class of its own. Your Toyota journey starts at the new Jarvis Toyota, Brighton Road, Somerton Park. Proudly celebrating 23 years of great deals.
This Christmas, make your holiday shopping easy, affordable and stress-free by shopping at Drake's Supermarkets. Whether you're planning a festive feast or searching for the perfect stocking stuffer, Drake's has everything you need to make this Christmas extra special.
So what about this? Yesterday, I walked into my Drake's. Jean-Paul Drake was in there, and I introduced myself and said,
"Oh, wow.
We've never met. How are you going?" And as we were standing there, this woman walked in, and she looked at him, and she said, Are you the manager?" And he said, "Yes, I am." And she said, "I just wanted to say I think Drake's is a terrifically run store."
Well, there's something you don't see every day.
Said, "You must be some sort of an actor." Anyway, for all your Christmas needs, get into Drake's. They've got everything you need: tender meats, fresh produce, sweet treats. Our store is groaning with panettones, everything in between. You can focus on enjoying the holiday season with your loved ones.
That's quite remarkable.
It's a true story.
For more details on Christmas specials, visit drakes.com.au and have a very Merry Christmas from the entire Drake's family.
Get the garden you want at Garden Grove, with everything from the ground up. Plants and instant lawn, mulches, soils and bark, landscape and building materials, hardware, pavers and more. There's a playground for the kids while you enjoy coffee or lunch in the cafe. Garden Grove, Golden Grove Road, Golden Grove. Open 7 days. Phone 8251 1111 for delivery to your area.
Garden Grove, the garden that I want.
This is the sound of Tom turning last night's dinner into a free lunch. And this is the sound of Alice finally cooking the right amount of pasta. Australia, together we can turn food waste around. Start unwasting at thegreatunwaste.com.au.
An Australian study will be launched to test a new Novavax vaccine to join the ongoing battle against COVID and flu. The
Adelaide wakes up with FIVEAA, David Penberthy and Will Goodings, Tom Wren for sport, Jade Robran on the scene as it happens, Graham Goodings and Jess Adamson with the news that matters to Adelaide. Breakfast with David and Will, bringing together the names you trust with everything you need to know to start your day. Always live, always local and only on FIVEAA. Always Adelaide.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, FIVEAA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on FIVEAA Breakfast. It is the 28th of November. We're going to talk movies after 6:30. Lucy's looking forward to that. The movie Wheel will be in the studio very, very shortly. We're going to cross to the US. Really concerning story out of the United States where more threats of political violence have been levelled against Trump appointees overnight. They've been bomb threats have been called in. There's this. I learned a new word with this story called swatting that I'd never heard of. We're going to get into that in a moment as well. Andrew White from the Rundle Mall Management Authority is going to come on. We'll talk Black Friday sales. How big a difference does it make? Does it take away from Christmas? What's it like shopping in the mall right now? Andrew White will join us to discuss that. Matt Abraham, as we dissect the spin of the week. And Koshy will come on the show talking the inflation data that came out yesterday. What does it say about interest rates? But also, what would a trade war do for the Australian economy? We'll get into all that with Koshy later. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. True story, the one I just told.
That's phenomenal.
So funny. It looked like the whole thing had been staged. See, I thought, am I like, is this the Truman Show? And I looked at the woman, I said, are you studying drama at Flinders? But she was...
Bit of extra work on the side. So the thing about John Paul Drake is I both believe that it's because they're fabulously run stores, but I also believe he could pull that together, that whole scenario.
Yeah.
That's in his wheelhouse.
Yeah, he somehow found out that at about 11:15 yesterday, I was going to be going down the road to buy a carton of milk and a bottle of Coca-Cola. And
called up SA Casting and said, we've got a quick turnaround job for you.
The eagle has landed.
Let's roll. I thought swatting meant studying for an exam.
So did I. Apparently, this is a new internet term, but it's been taken very seriously by police in the US. Swatting apparently it derived from the word not SWAT as in whatever SWAT vac is and wherever that comes from, but swatting as in SWAT teams, police SWAT teams. Okay. The idea being you call in a SWAT team to someone's location as a form of harassment.
Oh, right.
So I could ring up SAPOL and say, here's David Penberthy's address, and as I believe there's a murder that's been just committed there.
Okay, so it's like
it's a form of harassment.
There's a term from Watergate that predates it. It's got the F word in it. It's a rat blanking.
Yeah, right. Similar thing.
What was his name? Donald Segretti. This low-level Republican sort of staffer volunteer who used to ring up cancelling Democrat events and things like that.
It's sort of like that. It's a bit sinister. So they'll ring up and find people's home address or wherever they're going to be for the day and call in a bomb threat.
Yeah, right.
Or then they'll call in something else. It's been happening against a bunch of the people that Trump's appointed to cabinet.
Well, Trump, if ever there was a bloke with a mandate, whether you like it or not, it's Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
And this was the problem last time.
Well, these people aren't accepting the result.
I know. And they spent the last 4 years rightly criticising Trump for not accepting the result last time.
But it's got to
cut both ways, folks.
That's right. You can't only accept the results you like.
Yeah. Ridiculous. So have you done your... are you hosting Christmas this year, Will? Do you have a sort of roster in your in the Goodings family, where one year someone does it, then someone else does it?
It typically always gets hosted by mum and dad.
Yeah, right.
Mum's pretty tribal about protecting the patch. She always every year she goes, I think it's time for one of you kids to take over. And then the moment someone says it, she goes, well, not this year.
Well, you don't want to risk amateurs stuffing
That's right.
it up.
She has perfected it over the years.
Have to be done right.
That's exactly right. So that's typically how we do it. Well, that said, you've got now the sort of logistical puzzle of trying to fit in everyone's extended families' Christmases at the same time as well.
Yeah,
so you've got kids with partners and
it gets crazy.
Yeah, there's a full timetable of the day.
We share it around. It's either dinner is either at our place or at my sister's place, but it's Dad's birthday, so we always have a big thing at night for that. I mentioned that yesterday, but the mums play a vital role though, because I think mum always makes sure that regardless of where it's being held, she makes sure that everything's just right. And that means things like
quality control.
Almond bread has to be almond bread. There has to be a pudding. And she rang me yesterday. She said, "Oh, hi dear, can you talk?" And I said, "Yes, yeah, of course. Is everything all right?" Yeah, to get a phone call that begins with "Can you talk?" suggests we need to talk about something.
Yeah, this is going to be a lengthy chat.
Yeah. And she said, "I just want to let you know I'm going to bring bonbons Christmas night."
Oh,
so that was
good.
The goal.
We got that sorted.
That's right.
There's a weight off your shoulders.
Quite rightly, she has identified me as the kind of slob with limited attention for detail and not that sentimental, who might spend all the effort and energy on the food, and then suddenly realise I didn't buy any bonbons. Who cares?
Yeah, I this is not a criticism. I think this is a strength of yours, but some people might see it as a weakness. In organising a traditional Christmas day, they might think, "Oh, bonbons. We'll get fruit mince pies." You might think, what do they eat in Mexico on Christmas Day? And
I did that once. I did a Mexican Christmas.
I see, there you
raised
go.
Quite a few eyebrows. We're having the traditional Christmas meal of pozole. It's a slow-cooked soup made with sweet corn, pig's trotters, lime juice. It's really, really good.
Sounds actually magnificent.
It is terrific.
8223 is our number. You can text us too on the Duttons text line. Duttons car dealerships in the Adelaide Hills and Mowbridge. Duttons, easy to do business with. I'd love to hear from what are people. We've done this before. We've spoken to our listeners and asked them about multiple siblings or being from big families. If you're from one of those big families, how did you guys manage Christmas? What do you do when it's everyone grew up? Big families, what do you do? Let us know. I'd love to hear your process. Just purely to glean some tips, frankly. 15 after 6, news headlines next.
Spotlight's Black Friday sale, Linen & Co. Jessie Bath Towel $5. Draglow 1000 thread count sheet set queen bed $39. And Toncheng crumbed memory foam 2-pack pillow $20. So try it, shake it and plump it for less. All backed by our bargain guarantee. Sale on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
$20,000. Sounds awesome, yeah? Imagine winning it. Edwardstown Mazda and only Edwardstown Mazda is giving you the chance to win $20,000. Buy a new, demo or used car from Edwardstown Mazda during their incredible 2024 plate clearance sale and you're in the draw. Why would you go anywhere else? Your dream Mazda and $20,000?
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply. T24/1786.
Paint Supplies, Paint Supplies. G'day, it's Gary here from Paint Supplies at Hendon. We want to make Christmas special this year for all our customers. So this weekend only, everything in stock is up to 40% off. Paint for houses, cars, factory floors, machinery, you name it. You save this weekend at Paint Supplies. The paint savings are so amazing. You want to tell all your friends. That's up to 40% off this weekend, but only at Paint Supplies Hendon.
Some people might think police home care is home care designed for retired police. Well, they'd be wrong because it's actually home care for everybody.
And one thing is certain, police home care is all about protecting your independence at home, and they'll always do it on your terms.
As a trusted and approved My Aged Care provider, Police Home Care has more than 30 years' experience in aged and disability care. And because they understand that everyone has different needs and priorities in life, their home caregiving services can be adjusted to what works best for you.
And that can be anything from helping you prep meals to general housework, gardening, a trip to the shops or doctor's appointments. And as you'd expect, every carer at Police Home Care is held to the highest standards.
And as a registered NDIS provider, you're always in good hands with Police Home Care. Visit policehomecare.com.au for more information.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Black Friday sales are huge. It's the ideal time to get into Harvey Norman if you are thinking of upgrading a Windows computer. Get up to 35% off all Windows computers during the Black Friday sales. Yep, 35% off. You'll also get a great price on these two Acer PCs. Acer Aspire Go is down to just $568. That is powered by an Intel i5 chip, and you don't normally find PCs with that sort of power under $600. There's also the Acer Aspire Lite with 16 gig of RAM, powered by the even bigger Intel i7 chip, and that's only $798. Get your favourite tech for less during the Black Friday sale at Harvey Norman.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
18 minutes after 6, news headlines on this Thursday morning. South Australia now has some of the toughest penalties in the nation when it comes to the sale of illicit vapes and tobacco. From today, breaches can attract a fine of up to $1.5 million.
Breaches meaning selling tobacco.
Yeah, well, that, advertising tobacco products, selling without a licence, selling to minors, and sales of illicit tobacco or possession for the purpose of sale.
Well, that'll make you think twice. I mean, apart from the added sort of, nagging fear of arriving for your shift at whichever gift shop you happen to work at and finding the place is on fire.
Now you've got to worry about the old $1.5 million fine as well.
And the personal fine as well. But it's still legal to buy them. Well, it's not illegal to buy them. For the punter,
yeah,
you don't get arrested, which is funny. Because if it's a completely illegal thing, I don't understand the logic of that.
There are also new offences regarding e-cigarettes. The change has been introduced in the wake of Operation Eclipse, the task force focused on the state's illicit tobacco war. Tonight's Powerball is the 6th largest jackpot in Australian lottery history. This is $100 million, this one tonight.
Gee.
I reckon a fair few of our listeners might have
$100 million.
A little ticket for this one. SA is home to Australia's biggest individual lottery winner, a man who scored $150 million in May this year. That winning ticket was sold at the OTR Salisbury. I wonder if the OTR Salisbury is going to be busy today. We should call them up.
I reckon if you won $150 million on, and you lived in Victoria Avenue, Hyde Park, you probably wouldn't stand out that much. But winning $150 million in Salisbury, I wonder if this man's brought a little bit of attention to himself.
Would go a long way.
Look, walking around dressed like Steve Martin in The Jerk. Remember that when he's got that giant feather in his hat?
A new study shows illegal nicotine pouches are being increasingly accessed by young people. The products, which are flavoured, shaped like tea bags, are often marketed as an alternative to vaping. Associate Professor Dr. Becky Freeman says they're a major public health issue.
Young Australians are easily accessing these products, despite the fact that they're illegal to sell, and that they're using them as either an alternative to vaping products, as a party drug, or in some cases, to enhance their sporting performance.
I'm very distracted by this text that Rob sent in on the Dutton's text line saying, "Hey Dave, what's a Mexican Christmas? Is that when you climb the fence and eat a meal in the neighbour's yard?"
Rob.
That might explain why they put up a Great Wall.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, do you mind that we just sit in your backyard for the next couple of years?
So if you don't win the lottery, you could get into sculpting. A unique Australian sculpture has fetched a record-breaking $1.25 million at auction. The copper snake work, titled Tide, went under the hammer overnight.
Copper art.
The work was described as the most valuable to be sold in the country.
What's it called? Copper snake what?
Tide, it's called.
Snake tide. Copper snake tide.
It is a copper snake, but the title is simply Tide.
Oh, okay.
As in T-I-D-E.
Oh, so an actual copper snake, the species. Or is it made out of
good
copper?
Point.
Yeah.
Good point.
Unclear.
I'm asking
Do
you
you
sculpt
much.
out of copper?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, well, that was the whole chain of stores, copper art.
Yeah, but when you make something out of copper, do you call it a statue or a sculpture?
I don't know. We'd have to get one of the
Not really.
big figures of.
It is made. It's made of copper, Lucy says.
Who's the most famous sculptor of all time?
Michelangelo?
Oh, yeah, he did a bit. Henry Moore, he's the most modern English one, isn't he? The most big. They've got quite a few of his sculptures at the National Gallery in Canberra.
I think sculpting is as impressive art form as there is on planet Earth.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Look, you look at, speaking of Michelangelo, you look at those statues, how lifelike the muscle tone and arms and ligaments and things are, and you think this has been made out of stone or marble, or like, it's ludicrous. There's a level of skill.
Well, conversely, we all sort of take them for granted, but what about Bert Flugelman's balls?
Yep.
Like, how do you get two pieces of steel to be that incredibly perfect?
No idea.
And what holds them together?
Don't know, don't want to know.
Yeah.
Teenagers are also feeling distressed by the cost of living. This is interesting. Mission Australia has surveyed almost 7,500 participants aged between 15 and 19. And interestingly, 56% of them say cost of living is their main concern. It's gone past mental health.
This is a big political story, this one, potentially. So what were we saying? Past mental health?
It's gone past mental health. It's the number one concern for people, teenagers, effectively.
And climate change?
Everything.
It's gone past that?
Everything. It is the number one.
See, this is where you think that the sort of traditional Green/Australian Democrat view of the world is youth issues. What are the kids into today?
Israel.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm going to join the 10 embassy. I'm worried about if Dutton gets in, are they still going to be given enough funding to Triple J?
Yeah.
No.
Nope.
I'd like to buy a house, please. How on earth do I save for a deposit when, like, beer's $10.50 a pint? Everything else, you name it, goes up all the time.
The Albanese government right now is like the person who drives onto the Oban track, despite all the signage, the red flashing lights, and everything saying stop, go back, turn around, wrong way. He's just saying cost of living crisis. He's going,
That is such a good analogy. That is the best political analogy I've ever heard. And
this road's a bit weird.
It only works in South Australia.
That's what you listen to.
We should try to get that on the Insiders on Sunday. They're calling it the Oban effect. How's Albo driven off Hackney Road and straight past the do not enter sign?
If you listen to 5AA for something other than really provincial political coverage, then I don't know what you're doing.
Be good to get Paul Kelly from the Australian on board that one, wouldn't it?
I think
I'd like to make 3 points about the Oban effect.
Your colleague.
Yeah, that's true. Stop impersonating him on the air.
23 and cloudy today.
He's great. He is.
He's a very intelligent man. Up to 1 mil of rain today, 25 tomorrow. Possible late shower, 24 on Saturday, potentially up to 2 mils of rain. So very similar sorts of days and a weather pattern. Sunday it changes a bit, 26, cloud clearing. Monday it changes a lot. Another day like we got yesterday, the day before, 35 degrees but up to 9 mils of rain.
I'll tell you what, 35 degrees, that's what's now known in Sydney as panic stations. In fact, it's 2 degrees more. 32.9 degrees yesterday in Sydney.
Should we talk about that after 6:30?
Oh, yeah, let's do it. What a farce.
Having to turn your appliances off because there's not enough power.
32.9.
In Australia in 2024. Yeah.
It sounds like recently arrived POMs are running the energy system over there. It's going to be 32.
Yeah.
You know, shirts off, hanky hats on.
What, day 8 of a...
Turn off your dishwashers, everyone.
Weather event.
It's 32.
Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Get a free fuel card with a new Triton, Pajero, Outlander or Eclipse from Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Hope you boys are well. Started the Australian Open in the golf today, and look, this is a great tournament. But Cameron Smith, who we see here every year for the LIV tournament, really good, great player on the LIV Tour, of course. He's playing in it. He was runner-up last week, runner-up the week before at the New South Wales Open. So the course, without trying to get too technical, the course is very soft and pretty slow. And a lot of American courses are set up like that because they like it to be low scoring, lots of birdies, so the players can attack the flags and, get the ball really close to the pin and, so you get lots of birdies. Over here in Australia, courses are generally on the sand belt, sand-based, and we've got them down by the beach in the west, Grange and Kooyonga, Royal Adelaide, Glenelg. They're fast and they're firm and it's hard to get at the pins and it's tricky. And
because you get punished for making a small error, is that right?
That's right, yeah. So it's harder, so you can't just hit the pitching wedge 2 feet away and it's going to stop. It's going to run out. Anyway, that's not the case this week at Kingston Heath over in Victoria. The course is very soft and very slow. And a reporter put it to Cam Smith that maybe it's because there's been a bit more rain than usual. This was his response.
I think that's a excuse, to be honest. I think it's just been prepared like this for a reason, and it's not how these golf courses are meant to be played.
So he's absolutely...
Wow. Pitch tampering.
He's totally filthy with the organisers, saying, this is why we play here, because it's an Australian course, and it should be playing, hard and fast and difficult, and you've got to play all different kinds of shots, and it's unique, and it's not. It's like an American course.
So he's saying that they've done that to benefit the Americans?
Or to benefit low scoring. I'm not sure why, but he's not happy. He's saying you basically, it's like turning a Perth wicket into a raging turner.
Right.
A fast bouncy pitch into
I thought that's fascinating, that story, Rennie. I didn't realise there was that sort of tribalism about it, and it's nice to see a bloke who's one of our best exports coming back to Australia and going, no, we should be proud of the way our courses play, and that's something we should protect, as opposed to just saying, no, let's be like America, everyone shoots a 64, and, it looks really cool because the wind is 26 under.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a player be 2 under at the end.
I think it's better.
I think it's better.
I shouldn't comment.
No, but you're right. It should be a challenge. It should be hard. And our courses... It's a whole other debate, but there should be more major tournaments here. We've got some of the best courses in the world.
So do you reckon, Tom, if we move to the States, we'd be able to take 10 strokes off our average?
Well, and look, and admittedly, they've got some incredible courses. Like you play Pebble Beach. They've got the Players' Championship at Sawgrass, which is one of the most famed courses. But they do have a lot of courses where the fairways, you could drive 50 trucks through them. And it's just hit it as far as you can, then hit a pitching wedge in, and it's a putting contest. So, but that's why ours are good, because they're narrow, they're firm, they're beautiful. They're different. So we'll see how it plays today. But I dare say Cam Smith won't be having a beer with the organisers anytime soon.
That's a good story.
Anyway, aside from that, looks like Bo Webster's going to come into the Australian cricket squad. Mitch Marsh is injured. So there's a bit going on with the Aussies. Still 8 days out from the second test, and India's only going to get stronger. Rohit Sharma will come back. Shubman Gill is available. Potentially, Sammy is going to be available as well, their swing bowler. I mean, this is what happens. Their depth is frightening.
Having a swing bowler for a day-nighter, that's what you want.
And Bumrah's going to be bending the ball around the corners.
Bumrah at night.
I mean, good luck.
Bumrah by dark. Scary prospect.
It'll be dark indeed. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Tom.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Cloudy and 23 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
Jong Seka has lodged a workers' compensation claim alleging he has post-traumatic stress disorder from his time running the CFMEU. The Australian reports the former boss of the construction union has cited a series of incidents, including death threats, as contributing to the state of his mental health. Mr Seka resigned from his role in July after a series of damaging allegations were made against him and the union. He's believed to have been paid out more than $400,000 in entitlements. World-leading laws are expected to pass the Senate today, banning children under 16 from social media. More from Katie Fuller.
Children could soon be banned from platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and TikTok. The Senate is expected to pass laws today which would take effect from 2026. Tech giants would be required to take reasonable steps to ensure children don't access their platforms, and the federal government is expected to trial age verification technology in the meantime. New analysis shows it would only cost Meta 0.1% of its $48 billion in revenue to implement the changes.
One of Australia's most prolific child sex offenders will be sentenced in Brisbane during a hearing which begins today. Former childcare worker Ashley Paul Griffith has pleaded guilty to more than 300 charges, including rape and making child exploitation material. 65 victims are from Queensland and 4 from overseas. Two men have now been charged over a supermarket robbery at Trop Park on the weekend, which left a worker traumatised. The pair, aged 21 and 25, were arrested after a search of a home at Trop Park, uncovered cash and cigarettes, along with a taser, capsicum spray and illicit substances. The men will face court today, charged with aggravated robbery and possessing a prohibited weapon. Tomato growers will rally on the steps of Parliament House today. The local industry has been decimated by a virus. Tony Sacker from De Salvatore Farms is fed up with PIRSA pushing back meetings and wants clearance to sell to all states and territories.
So instead of them coming to us, we're going to go to them and ask them questions at Parliament to get some answers that will clarify our plight to export tomatoes to Queensland and WA.
Local news agents are expecting a busy day with tonight's Powerball worth $100 million. Mel Usher says local players have had some big wins in the past.
There's expected to be a rush on Powerball entries today, with another $100 million on the line tonight. SA is home to Australia's biggest individual lottery winner, a man who scored $150 million in May this year. The winning ticket was sold at the OTR Salisbury. There was also a $10 million prize linked to Kylie Brown's news agency at Somerton Park in March 2023. The draw closes at 7 o'clock tonight, SA time.
Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Get a free fuel card with a new Triton, Pajero, Outlander or Eclipse from Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Good morning, Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Kendall. Australian golfer Cameron Smith has savaged the condition of the host courses of the Australian Open, which begins this hour. Smith has been left unimpressed with how soft and slow Kingston Heath and the Victoria have been presented, in contrast to the usual characteristics of Melbourne's Sandbelt. Minjee Lee will tee off early at Kingston Heath, leading the women's field. Lee says she's tired after only landing back in Australia a couple of days ago, but is excited to chase her maiden Open title.
Always nice to hear, Australian accents when you're just hopping off the plane. All year I'm in America or travelling, so it feels nice to be home.
To cricket, Tasmanian all-rounder Bo Webster looks set to come into the Test squad as cover for Mitch Marsh, who saw from the opening test in Perth. Meantime, the Sydney Thunder has defeated the Hobart Hurricanes in the Women's Big Bash knockout match. The Thunder advance to play the Brisbane Heat tomorrow for a place in the tournament grand final. That'll be against the Melbourne Renegades. In the AFL, Rory Lobb says emerging talent at the Western Bulldogs will cover the midfield hole that's been left by the departure of several stars, including Bailey Smith, Jack McRae and Caleb Daniel. And three-time Olympiad Charlotte Caslick has stepped down as captain of the Australian Women's Rugby Sevens team. Isabella Nasser will take her place. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Cloudy and 23 today, a possible late shower tomorrow, 25. A possible shower Saturday, 24. Then cloud clearing on Sunday, 26. At the moment, 15. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, FIVEAA Breakfast.
25 minutes to 7. We have two more people to put on the short list this morning for our cruise adventure of a lifetime. Thanks to Silver Seas, the Silver Nova, their brand new luxury ship sailing to Singapore, and indeed Phil Hoffman Travel, creating moments you'll never forget. All you need to do is get through to Sam and Lucy when we play the boarding call. We'll play it 2 times over the course of the morning. And 2 more chances. And tomorrow, look, you don't have to wait long if you get on the short list today, because tomorrow Stacey Lee will be on board the vessel and will be announcing the $18,000 prize winner.
That was me.
That wasn't the official boarding call.
Call to enter.
It is a Thursday morning, which means it's time to talk movies. Lucy's in the studio. Movies are better on the big screens at Wallace Cinemas, Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and the Piccadilly. Wallace.com.au. It's always good to be on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream to see Lucy's first raw emotion when she finds out the movie she'll be watching potentially today. Morning to you, Luce.
Good morning. I'm thrilled.
What was last week's again?
Yep.
Oh, it was Top Gun Maverick, wasn't it?
Top Gun Maverick.
And you really liked it.
Yeah, I loved it. Top Gun isn't even, the first one's not even on this year's list. It lost out last year to Oh, yeah, now I can't find it. But it's not even on this year's list, the first Top Gun.
No, that's all right. We can have a little break from
There
Tom
we go.
Cruise and planes.
Rain Man beat it last year.
Okay, I was a Tom
Man-
Cruise off.
Yes, okay.
The number this morning is 19. 19. I think we need to grease the wheel. It looks like it's struggling a bit to spin.
19.
Those Nova
19,
people probably wrecked it when they had it.
19. Oh, Sam will be happy. Sam will be happy. I know this. There is 1981.
1981, okay.
Escape from New York
Yes.
up against Stripes.
I reckon Stripes will win. We'll see. 8223 Someone who rings in gets a Wallace Cinemas double pass. Get calling now. Stripes up against
Escape from New York.
Escape from New York.
Now, I've never seen Escape from New York. It's some sort of apocalyptic thriller, isn't it?
Oh, that is certainly not my preferred genre.
Oh, it's a Kurt Russell film.
Escape
Is that all
from
we've
New
got
York.
on it?
Yep, that's right.
I'm sure a lot of our listeners have seen it.
Well, let us know. We'll find out how popular it
What's
is.
Here you
Stripes
go.
about?
The film, set in the near future world of 1997,
Oh, really?
concerns a crime-ridden United States which has converted Manhattan Island into the country's sole maximum security prison. Air Force One is hijacked by anti-government insurgents who deliberately crash it into the walled borough. Now, that's right. This is the film that a lot of people said quite spookily presaged September 11. Stripes, very different film, Luce. It is the story...
Escape from New York, sorry, is a John Carpenter film. A lot of people are big fans of John Carpenter movies. He's got a sort of cult following. He did Halloween. Really famous...
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, so that was...
Halloween's excellent. Genuinely terrifying film. Stripes, Luce, is a...
Bill Murray, isn't it?
You got a problem with Bill Murray, haven't you?
Not
John
my
Candy.
mate, but that's all right.
I think you'll feel like you've seen Stripes even though you haven't seen Stripes because you've seen everyone in it and it's them doing the same stuff they always do.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Stripes
If you love
is
it,
good.
you'll love it.
Stripes is funny.
If you don't,
Boom
you won't.
shakalaka.
Maria and Seaton, good morning. What's Lucy reviewing?
David. It has to be Stripes.
Yeah, I'm
John
with you, Maria.
Candy. Especially when they have to... Oh, no, I'm not going to say nothing.
Good on you, Maria. I like how she held back there. That was good. Ben and Harndorf, good morning.
Yeah, it's got to be Stripes, guys, and don't call me Francis.
Thank you, Ben. Danny and Craig Moore, good morning.
Coming on here.
Yeah, I like both movies, but got to be Stripes.
There's a lot of Stripes love. There's a lot of Escape from New York love on the Duttons text line. Peter from Marsden says, good morning, Escape from New York. Nick in Croydon Park says, guys, Escape from New York, my parents even liked it. Great movie and a great soundtrack as well. David Alberton, good morning.
It has to be Stripes, just for the marching scene at the end. Lucy, you'll love that.
Do you reckon she will, Dave?
Sam and Theberton, good morning.
Good morning, boys. Hey, Dave, what have you been smoking this morning?
Nothing yet.
Now, Lee, you want to have lunch at Christmas at the neighbour's house, I heard.
Oh, no, that was just Rob on the text line teasing me.
Anyway, Lucy's going to have fun watching Stripes.
Good on you, Sam.
Oh, well, that's
5-0.
That was easy. Sometimes it becomes readily apparent which one the listeners want. Not a lot of mystery today. It is Stripes that Lucy will be reviewing. Another what's the highest ranking comedy you've ever done?
Ooh.
Blazing Saddles. You love that.
I forget.
Bad Santa.
Bad Santa, I
Bad
reckon.
Santa, of course.
Bad Santa was 4.5 last year.
4.5.
I gave Blazing Saddle... Have I seen that?
Yeah.
It's not on my ratings list. Maybe
No,
I'm
you've
just
definitely
blind.
seen it. 'Cause I
Yeah,
remember
okay.
you've definitely seen it.
We had a conversation. I thought you'd dislike it, and you really liked it.
Bad Santa gave that 4.5, so that's definitely the top.
That's the peak. That's the comedy summit that Stripes is seeking to achieve.
4.5 stars.
The,
Citizen Kane territory.
My only issue with this
Orson Welles wishes he came up with Bad Santa.
Yeah, that's right.
is Stripes is my third movie in a row that I have to pay for a streaming service and then pay for the movie itself.
Surely it's a tax deduction when you're a professional
Well, no,
movie reviewer.
I wouldn't
now.
complain too loudly. Last time you watched a movie, I gave you $50.
Yeah, well, mate, a bet's a bet. It's got nothing to do with streaming services.
Take it out of the David Penberthy
Yeah,
fund.
also, you're still ahead.
Yeah, well, technically, some of that goes to my friend who I've been purchasing these movies from.
Your friend?
Because I already have a few streaming services, but none of them are...
This guy doesn't run a gift shop, does he?
I can't say anymore. I know the cops are listening.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Lucy wanders into a random shady gift shop. Says, "So, you got
Amazon
any stripes?"
Prime.
I got this movie in Blair Athol.
You wouldn't steal a car.
You just go in there.
Right.
You would not steal a handbag.
No, but would you steal stripes?
You just go in and you say, "Hi, Mustafa. I really like films."
Stripes, here's a fun fact, came out on my birthday in 1981. I wasn't around then, but maybe that's a good omen.
There you go.
88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
All right.
Yeah.
That's a good Rotten Tomatoes ranking. So we'll find out what the Lucy Loken rating is tomorrow morning on 5AA Breakfast. Good on you, Luce. Thank you for that.
Excellent work, Luce.
Should we briefly, before the break, have a bit of a chat about what's happening with our good friends up in New South Wales? Just to catch people up that haven't been across it, and this feels like you're reading about something from another country. In New South Wales yesterday, the Premier had to issue a warning asking families to avoid washing their clothes or their dishes last night to help keep the lights on. AEMO, the energy market operator, said there might not be enough power in the system to meet demand. Government departments were told to turn off the lights, close the blinds, run air conditioning units at up to 26 degrees to save electricity. Staff at the Sydney Children's Hospital were asked to switch off unused computers, electrical equipment and power points. And again, for those playing at home, the kind of raw resources required to generate power, uranium, we've got the most in the world. Coal, we've got pretty much the most in the world. Gas, we're right up there as well. The most abundant energy sources on planet Earth all live under the ground here in Australia, and yet on a pretty mild sort of a day, would you say 32.9 degrees? Wasn't exactly the end of 12 days of 40 plus, like heat wave territory.
It was 32.9 in the Sydney CBD. There were some parts of Western Sydney where it got up to 39.9, but across the state, it was a reasonably mild spring day. Coffs Harbour was 28, Dubbo was 30, Port Macquarie was 30, Ballina, home of the Big Prawn, was 28. Now, if these are the temperatures that necessitate, pleas for energy rationing, where, people are enlisted not to do any vacuuming, not to watch the TV, it's pathetic. And the thing is, Chris Bowen, the weakest link in the Albanese government by the length of the Flemington Strait, he's come out and said, it's because all the coal-fired power stations aren't up to it anymore. I was like, hang on a minute.
Well, they were. They got shut.
Yes, that happened.
They were going all right.
And we agreed as a nation, apparently, that no one's allowed to open any new ones. So coal is dead. So, okay, how can you blame the fact that the coal-fired power stations are no longer reliable, they're ageing? Isn't that a big sort of distraction from the fact that you're clearly not producing enough storable and usable power through solar and wind to keep the state running?
That's precisely what it says. It's farcical. I mean, turning off your dishwasher is one thing, as annoying and stupid it is. But maybe staff aren't run off their feet in the New South Wales health system. I guess they would be. But can you imagine telling nurses on a shift looking after sick kids, in between your shift, can you run around turning off all the electricity in the rooms and shutting down the computers and so forth? What a farce.
But don't you think, though, the politics of it, Bowen's position, well, this is coal's fault because it's no longer any good, but we can't use it anyway. And we're not allowed to even talk about nuclear power because we're all going to end up with Blinky the multi-eyed fish and a nuclear reactor, as Richard Mail stupidly said at the Norwood International School. Peter Dutton wants a nuclear reactor in every backyard. Just grow up, the lot of yous. That is just juvenile, not even undergraduate. It's like year 10 level alarmist sort of crap that you'd write after you'd watched The Day After in 1983.
The thing, people, I'm not sure people are acutely aware of this because it's nerdy science stuff, but our energy needs in the developed world are about to grow exponentially because of the march of things like AI, because of data centres that are required, things that require huge amounts of processing power and huge amounts of electricity. That's why you've got companies like Amazon and Microsoft and others investing in nuclear power, because our demands aren't going to be slowing or even growing slowly. They're about to leap dramatically. Now, what happens in that world when it's 29 degrees in Ballina?
Well, just turn off your...
You might as well not bother.
Turn off your AI generator that runs your internet banking.
That's right. Yeah, this isn't sustainable. This just simply isn't sustainable as it is right now. 13 to 7, we're going to check traffic, police and weather are coming up in just a moment. Black Friday sales are now on at Barbecue Adelaide, Weber Stores, Jeps Cross and Mile End. Minimum 10% off store-wide.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. She is looking the goods this morning for the running to work, accident breakdown free, so a good start. Do have some urgent electrical works at Hindmarsh to look out for, but not seeing too many delays through there at the moment. Port Road near East Street. Do have works at Woodville South to keep him on. That's also Port Road near Woodlands Crescent, and slow already at Hallett Cove, Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road. Early morning cameras, Education Road, Happy Valley, and Hillier Road at Ranella. Freedom's Black Friday sale is on now. Get 30% off store-wide plus 50% off all mattresses. Hurry ends Monday, only at Freedom. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Want a deal on a new VW? At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, it's easy and you don't have to wait. Their 2024 plate clearance has started early. That means you can pick your dream Volkswagen. Easy. Check out the range of new and demo Volkswagens on sale now. All stock is ready for immediate delivery so you can pick up an early Christmas present. Plus, we have easy finance options and next day servicing. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's 2024 plate clearance. You better be quick. Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Da-da-da-da! Barnesy here from Barbecue Adelaide, Weber Stores, Jeps Cross, Mile End. No other locations in South Australia do you need to visit for Weber or Yeti. Come see me this week. I got a minimum of 10% off store-wide and I'm having a killer party. Have something to eat, something to drink and just get involved. We'll price match anyone. So get down to Jeps Cross or Mile End this Black Friday and prepare to get lit.
5AA celebrates 12 days of Christmas with Sydney Street on Unley Road. For 35 years, this iconic SA fashion store has helped mums and daughters find their timeless style. And with over 60 quality brands on their racks, finding your fit is effortless.
You'll find designers from Australia, New Zealand and the USA. Sydney Street is actually the biggest independent retail supplier in the Southern Hemisphere of the famous Not Your Daughter's Jeans brand.
Sydney Street has handpicked the most timeless designs, not fast fashion that will be out of date this time next week. Plus, receive 20% off store-wide during their Black Friday sale until this Saturday only.
Take a look through the new season stock now at Sydney Street on Unley Road. Now open every day, including Sundays until Christmas, and you can shop online too at sydneystreet.com.au.
It's Cheap as Chips Black Friday sale.
Cheap as chips.
And holy chip, these deals are cheap. Get 30% off Christmas solar lights. Pentametal shed, save $100, now $249. Stick vacuums and carpet cleaners, a crazy $99. 100 litre eco recycled tub, just $19. And get 50% off 3-door pantries, now $149.50. Grab our Black Friday catalogue for more amazing Black Friday weekend deals this Friday to Monday. Live cheaper with Cheap as Chips, in store or online.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
2 minutes to 7. Let's talk about the weather today. It's been a story all week. What does today have in store? Chris Kent has the details at the Bureau of Meteorology. Morning to you, Chris.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, we're good, mate. So what's Thursday going to do for us?
Yeah, we got a little bit of rain still on the cards today. We've got some light showers still sort of possible for parts of Adelaide. Yesterday we saw about 10 millimetres up on the Mount Lofty ranges, only a couple of millimetres sort of around the place on the flat, but we're expecting much less than that today. Only really a light drizzle from time to time, I think. Looking at a maximum of 23 degrees for the city today, and looking at those the clouds sort of to break up a little bit as well. Partly cloudy conditions for much of the day as well when the rain isn't falling.
Hey Chris, question without notice. The Tiser's got some story up today about a bloke who's some sort of weather clairvoyant who says it's going to be in the low 30s on Christmas Day. Is it possible to get an accurate sense this far out as to what it might be?
No, not this far out. We're what are we, about a month away? Any predictions at this stage is going to be what is generally experienced sort of on a on a climatology sort of a scale. So I wouldn't be putting too much faith into any of that right now.
So don't plan the menu just yet.
I don't think it's going to be a wise idea.
No worries. Good on you, Chris. Chris Kent there from the Weather Bureau.
Just to give the Advertiser a little bit of credit, the bloke's a meteorologist.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's some sort of nut job. some like Nostradamus sitting there with his barometer in one hand and
the
a
weather
candle in the other.
clairvoyant suggested maybe he divined it from the spirits.
I know, but the point is that
yes,
they couldn't even predict whether it was going to rain in the CBD
I know
last
what you're
Saturday
saying.
on Friday.
I know what you're saying.
You could probably have a bit of a general stab based on the trends, can't you?
Probably.
Apparently it's going to be like this sort of tropical weather is going to continue for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, do we like that?
I don't mind it.
Yeah, okay. So you can't
It must be bad for your hair being on TV.
I don't have that much hair that doesn't move. My hair just is.
You don't worry about
it
things
has
like that.
one position. My hair. I wake up and it's ready to go.
It's set to Ray Martin mode.
It's exactly right.
Lego man
push
hair.
the button. I click it on. Actually,
why do I have that large yellow dot on top of your head?
Senior Constable Matt Brown from SAPOL joins us. This is concerning, Matt. A car's gone into a business and house in Blackwood.
That's right. Well, about 1:45am today, emergency services were called to Main Road after reports that a Volkswagen sedan had crashed into several buildings and a block of units. Now, a male driver and a male passenger fled the scene, leaving behind the female passenger. And no one inside the block of units was injured, and patrols searched the area with the assistance of police dog Enzo, but the two men were unable to be located. The female passenger, a 23-year-old Christie's Beach woman, was not injured, but she was later arrested for disorderly behaviour and hindering police. So she's been bailed to appear in court at a later date. The inquiries continue to identify and locate the driver and the other passenger. And anyone with information that can assist police is asked to call Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
And Matt, this is a great story. So, well done, SAPOL. You've arrested those two deros who held up the supermarket there in Trott Park Sunday night, terrorising the staff.
That's right, Dave. Yeah, very scary incident, like you say. About 11:50pm on Sunday, the 24th of November, patrols were called to a supermarket on Hyson Drive after reports that two men had entered the store, one allegedly armed with a firearm, before they stole an amount of cash and cigarettes and left the store on foot. Thankfully, the staff member wasn't physically injured, but Southern Patrols, with the assistance of police dog Enzo, searched the area but were unable to locate the suspects at the time. And following an investigation, yesterday police from the Southern Districts, along with detectives, Star Group officers, Crime Gangs Task Force officers and police dog Harriet attended a Trott Park home to conduct a search. And inside, police located two men, aged 25 and 21, along with an amount of cash and cigarettes. Police also allegedly located a taser, capsicum spray, illicit substances and equipment. And both men have been charged with aggravated robbery and possess a prohibited weapon. So they've been refused bail to appear in court today. So some good work there.
Yeah, hopefully they get put away for a very long time. Good on you, Matt. Thank you for that. Matt Brown from SAPOL.
All right, let's head to the US. This is a really concerning story out of the United States. Miley Hogan for 7 News has all the details. Miley, some of the Trump appointees have been targeted with a range of bomb threats. What's going on?
Yeah, good morning, guys. Well, these appointees for White House positions and also those that have been nominated for cabinet positions, some of them have received bomb threats, or others have been the subject of swatting incidents, and that's when a person alerts authorities that there is an immediate threat on another person's life, and then law enforcement respond by sending in SWAT teams and a huge law enforcement response, which the person at that house has no idea what's going on and can become quite confused. It causes chaos and fear. The FBI is now investigating this incident, and they do say there's no credible threat to anybody's life, that these are hoaxes, but it is clear that fear is being used here to as a tool to frighten these people, and it really does talk to the volatile situation in the United States politics scene at the moment.
Is there any sense as to where these threats are actually emanating from, Miley? I mean, I'm sure it's not like, Nancy Pelosi. Are we looking at, are they fringe groups, or are they lone actors, or are they radical groups like Antifa, or is it all just speculation?
Well, the FBI is investigating. At this stage, they haven't released any information. They're not releasing the names of the people who were targeted either. What we do know is that they weren't anybody that has Secret Service protection. So that means that Donald Trump wasn't the subject of it, and we know that Vice President-elect J.D. Vance also wasn't the subject of it. Some people who were the target have actually put their names out there to say that this has happened to them. But also these bomb hoaxes and these swatting incidents, it's not a new issue in America. During Donald Trump's trials, some of the judges were subject to them. So it's definitely an issue that law enforcement here in America has been trying to get on top of.
What a crazy old place, eh? Great stuff, Miley. Miley Hogan for Channel 7 in the US Bureau.
There are some hyper-political weirdos in the world, aren't there?
Oh, completely.
Elise Stefanik, who is Trump's pick for UN ambassador. She's got a 3-year-old child. I don't know anything about it, politics. But like ringing up setting the SWAT team on a group of a couple with a young kid or young children, I think that makes you a sicko.
Oh, completely.
Like, I don't care what I don't know anything about it, politics. I don't care how abhorrent they might be to someone. Like that's since when's that just part of the rough and tumble of politics?
The thing that I reckon is really worrying too about the states, and in a perverse kind of a way, it's often his side of politics that's the worst when it comes to the sort of thoughts and prayers stuff. Whenever there's a gun massacre and the immediate response is, well, okay, we've all got to get together to make sure there's absolutely no change whatsoever to the gun laws. If I was Trump, I'd still be so worried about like the percentage of unhinged people out there in the community with access to firearms. Like clearly there's a tiny but big enough cohort of unhinged people with access to weapons who now think it's almost like a competition to see if they can shoot him. And why don't they act the way we did after Port Arthur? I just don't understand the total lack of logic when it comes to it. But I guess it's all the sort of
culture.
Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, right to bear arms stuff, isn't it?
Indeed. 5AA News Time. Wrap of the morning stories coming up.
The deadline to win $200,000 is midnight Sunday in the St. John Christmas Home Lottery. Can you believe it? $200,000. Plus, your ticket will stay in all remaining draws from our $10.9 million prize pool, including our grand prize draw, with 4 breathtaking $5 million grand prize home packages to choose from. Licence number M14618. Get your ticket before midnight Sunday. Support your St. John Ambos. Visit stjohnlottery.com.au.
I love this time of year. Me too. Cherry! My favourite. What about ham? So heavy. Don't forget the Christmas pudding. And custard. Christmas is about sharing and caring. It's about family coming together.
A big thank you to all our customers, especially the thousands of new customers that have chosen Drake's this year.
From the whole Drake's family, Merry Christmas!
Drake's, ingredients to make this Christmas special.
Discover outdoor living dreams you can touch at the new Straco Richmond showroom, open now. Feel that fence, peruse that patio, and shut that shed. Come in, see the new displays, and get expert advice on your next outdoor home improvement project. And for a limited time, get 20% off gable roof garages. Terms and conditions apply. However you bring the dream, Stratco Richmond will bring the how-to. 249 Richmond Road, Richmond.
Today we're making Medicare stronger with more investment in bulk billing, enhanced support for mental health and more urgent care clinics. Learn more about Medicare benefits at medicare.gov.au/stronger. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Up-to-the-minute news for South Australia. This is 5AA News, always Adelaide.
Cloudy and 23 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Make RAA-approved windscreen repairer, Complete Windscreens, your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
A controversial senator has been suspended from federal parliament. Lydia Thorpe has been blocked from voting and debating in the chamber on the final sitting day after an outburst at Pauline Hanson. The One Nation leader says the appropriate action's been taken.
Something had to be done to rein it in of what is happening in this chamber. There's been aggression that's been shown by Senator Thorpe to many senators in this place.
While the plight of tomato growers will be front and centre on North Terrace today, they'll rally on the steps of State Parliament. The local industry's reeling from a recent virus. Tony Sacker from Del Salvatore Farms fears not everyone will survive.
I really feel for the smaller grower because they do make the majority of growing here in South Australia, and they are the core people that have developed this industry. The bigger guys might survive or get through it, yes, but the smaller growers might not be there next year.
Former CFMEU boss John Setka has lodged a workers' compensation claim. The Australian reports he claims he's suffering post-traumatic stress disorder from a deterioration in his mental health while running the union. He cited a series of incidents, including death threats. Mr Setka was reportedly paid out more than $400,000 entitlements after his resignation. A man accused of king-hitting a former WA MP has faced court in Perth. More from Yvonne Ardley.
25-year-old Jerry Aniceto Massapow appeared in court on 5 charges, including grievous bodily harm and aggravated burglary. Police say he drove to a tyre business in Kelmscott yesterday morning, owned by former WA MP Barry Urban. The pair got into a verbal fight which allegedly turned physical. Mr Urban sustained serious head injuries and remains at Royal Perth Hospital in an induced coma. The accused is further alleged to have driven at a 19-year-old man who was rushing to help Mr Urban and had to jump out of the way of the vehicle to avoid being hit. The 25-year-old didn't apply for bail and will face court again next month.
2 men have been arrested after a terrifying robbery at a Trott Park supermarket on the weekend. It's alleged the pair burst into the shop on Hyson Drive and stole cash and cigarettes. After an investigation, police last night searched a Trott Park home, arresting the 21 and 25-year-old. They found an amount of cash and cigarettes, as well as a taser, capsicum spray and illicit substances. The men have been charged with aggravated robbery and possessing a prohibited weapon. They'll appear in court today. A third of Australians have already taken advantage of Black Friday sales. An additional $7.5 billion is expected to be spent this weekend. 13% of shoppers are waiting for Cyber Monday to snap up a bargain. While an increase in online shopping has seen more parcels becoming lost or damaged. A new report has found 2/3 of Australians have had an item go missing, and half of those incidents have been in the past year. NTI Parcel Protect's Nick Ilo says businesses should consider helping consumers and respond when things go wrong.
For businesses, having goods lost or damaged or stolen during transit, especially when they're being delivered out to those end consumers, it is all about how they protect their brand and look after their promises to their customers.
Bomb threats have been made towards several of Donald Trump's cabinet picks and nominees. The FBI is investigating several threats. A spokeswoman for the President-elect's transition team says efforts are being made to ensure their safety. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get a free fuel card with a new Triton, Pajero, Outlander or Eclipse from Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. We'll start with some cricket. Tasmanian all-rounder Bo Webster is set to be added to Australia's Test squad. That will be as cover for Mitch Marsh, who's battling soreness and is in some doubt for the second Test against India, which begins here in Adelaide next Friday. Meantime, Jasper Bumrah has reclaimed top spot on the ICC's Test bowling rankings following his brilliant performance in the first Test in Perth. And the Sydney Thunder have beaten the Hobart Hurricanes by 6 wickets in the WBBL to advance to the next stage of the finals. Well, it's a month to go until the United Cup gets going in Perth, where Spain, Greece, the US and Germany will all hit the courts. The Aussies will compete in the Sydney tournament. Double star Matt Ebden says the United Cup is the perfect lead-in to defend his crown at the Australian Open.
There's no real off-season anymore, but to be able to take a week off and then train and practice, knowing that I'm going to come here and practice, play matches, represent my country, and use that as a springboard for not only my summer but for the whole year. It worked a charm for me last year, and I intend on doing the same or better again.
To golf now, players are out on the 2 courses for the beginning of the Australian Open in Victoria. One of the pre-tournament favourites, Cam Smith, who was scathing in his assessment of the slow and soft nature of the courses, has started with a par. Plenty of European Champions League action on again this morning. It's about half an hour in with Aston Villa and Juventus locked at 0-0, while there's also no goals yet in the match between Liverpool and defending champions Real Madrid. And in some basketball to finish, Aussie Josh Giddey had 11 points, 4 rebounds and 8 assists as his Chicago Bulls had a 127 to 108 point win. That was against the struggling Washington Wizards. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Control Air, Australia's commercial refrigeration and air conditioning experts. Visit controlairaustralia.com.au.
Accident breakdown free this morning, so a good run heading into work. No great hassle. We'll do a Virgin Electrical works to look out for at Hindmarsh, Port Road near East Street, speeds at 40. Slow for works at Wingfield, the Salisbury Highway to the Wingfield ramp, and a little busy at the moment at Cheltenham, Port Road near Cheltenham Parade. Early morning cameras, Education Road, Happy Valley, and Elizabeth Road at Morford Vale. The biggest Black Friday of them all starts tomorrow in Rundle Mall, with stores open till midnight for your Christmas shopping. Then it's Black Friday all weekend in Rundle Mall. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Cloudy and 23 today, a possible late shower tomorrow, 25, a possible shower on Saturday, 24, and cloud clearing on Sunday, 26. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Parties, weddings, big events. What do they all have in common? Pals. You know your pals want to have a good time, but what will everyone want to drink? That's when you need to speak to Powerfield Airport Liquor Store. Pals will make sure you've got the right type of drinks, the right amount, and best of all, we'll make sure you've got the best labels that will keep everyone talking about your event. Powerfield Airport Liquor Store. Pals. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
Harvey Norman Black Friday sale. Save up to a huge 20% off mobiles, including big brands Samsung, Google, Motorola and more. Save up to 25% off headphones, like the Sonos Ace, now just $548, save $150. Save up to 30% off tablets, and up to 30% off connected home, like the Eufy Cam 3 4-camera security system. Save $520 plus get bonus $100 gift card. Harvey Norman Black Friday sale. Best prices guaranteed. Conditions apply.
Black Friday is on now at Southern Cherry. Every vehicle purchase comes with a gift card valued at up to $2,000. Ends November 30. Don't miss out.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 after 7, it's a pretty picture on the iPhone on a stick this morning. The Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. There's a lot of low and pretty ominous looking cloud over the hills, but a beautiful sunrise has emerged over the top and some blue sky there. It looks quite pretty. Real mix of days ahead, though, as we've just heard with the Weather Bureau.
I tell you what, the wind at the moment, it's these afternoon sort of gully winds and our gum tree shedding bark at the moment. And I cleaned the pool like 4 days ago, and it now looks like a giant swamp, just filled with bark. The backyard, just stuff blowing around everywhere. Anyone who lives within cooey of a gum tree, which is, most people in South Australia, I'm sure their backyard looks the same at the moment.
Yeah, it's been a windy sort of, I guess that's what spring tends to do to us. 10 after 7, coming up shortly, we're going to play the boarding call. 2 more spots on the short list for our cruise trip of a lifetime, thanks to Silver Seas Luxury Cruising and Phil Hoffman Travel. Matt Abraham coming up this half hour on 5AA Breakfast, it being a Thursday morning. Koshi a little bit later today. Lots to talk about with Koshi. Was yesterday's RBA CPI data of concern to the RBA? We'll get Koshi's thoughts and also get his sense of what a tariff war might mean for the Australian economy. We'll get into that. Speaking of the weather, we mentioned Darren Ray, the meteorologist that the Advertiser is quoted with. He's sort of crunched his numbers with his own spreadsheet to come up with the fact that he thinks that it'll be a low to mid-30s Christmas Day forecast. This is the first of the long-range forecasts. He says the first 2 weeks of December will be showers with the negative Indian Ocean dipole, which is, I know you've been watching it closely, David.
Big fan.
Yeah.
Love that thing.
Conditions are going to get drier and warmer for the second half of December with the possibility of rain between Christmas and New Year's Eve. If history is a guide for us, it's an interesting one. Do you remember last summer was one of the mildest summers?
Yeah, it was.
I can remember. And Christmas Day was 19.7 degrees. That was if you look back over the annals of history, that is one of the old mother of outliers. The average temperature is 27.4, but in recent years it's been known to get hotter. The hottest ever was 42.1 back in 1888. So we've got data all the way back to there. 2022 it was 32.9, 2021 it was 26.8, 2020 29.6, 2019 it got to 35.5, 2018 36. Buckle up, folks. I'm going to read them all the way back to 1888.
He's actually memorised them.
20. It was 40. I'm like Rain Man.
Yeah, that's right.
It was a 41.3 in 2016. So that 19.7 was seriously cool. And more often than not, in the last decade or so, it's been 30 plus. So that's probably not a totally unreasonable prediction.
Can you give us all the Brownlow winners for each year too, Will?
Yeah, I'm going to go through them round by round. Stay tuned for that in a special podcast edition I like to call Boring You to Death. Let's talk about Black Friday sales. Tomorrow, you wouldn't know it, but Black Friday's tomorrow. They haven't started yet, folks.
A lot of people thought it started last week. We were talking last Friday about
how would you tell?
You needed a wheelbarrow to pick up that day's paper. It had so many ads in the middle for the good guys and Harvey Norman, everyone.
It corresponds with Thanksgiving in the United States. That was the origin of the holiday. They don't get many holidays in the US, but they do around Thanksgiving, so it becomes a big shopping event as well. And it's made its way here, given the nature of major retailers and so forth, and is now the biggest sales event in Australia of the year, beating Christmas Day and Boxing Day and so forth. Andrew White is the Executive Manager of Arundel Mall and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Good to chat with you again, Andrew.
Thanks for having me on.
So, for the mall, specifically, does that match up to the big picture view of Black Friday? It's the biggest event of the year now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Boxing Day was always, the number one, but I would say that Black Friday has superseded that, and we're expecting something like 700,000 people to come into the mall over the weekend. But, it gets bigger and bigger each year, and we saw the crowds already coming in yesterday and throughout the week. So, it's just, this whole week is just pretty much pandemonium.
So, Andrew, is it a bit of a sort of false conclusion to draw where, because my hunch would have been, well, Black Friday is all about online shopping, but it sounds like, in terms of foot traffic, it's a physical and tactile shopping experience for a lot of the more traditional shoppers still.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think here in Australia we're a bit unique as well, because about over 70% of shoppers still prefer to shop in store, which is compared to about 50% in Europe and the US. So it very much is a brick and mortar sale as well. But, everyone would have seen all the online sales come through over the last week, but we'll actually get a number of exclusive offers dropped tonight, just in preparation for tomorrow. So, and for us here, obviously, it's a great way to kick off with Christmas spending. So most of our customers will, start that Christmas shopping period this weekend. And cost of living is increasing, so great opportunity just to stretch that dollar a bit further.
How has the cost of living crunch affected the not this week but the year? Does it actually feel to you guys like maybe there's more people going berserk buying stuff on Black Friday because they have really been tightening their belts the rest of the year and they're now looking for some real value or trying to do their Christmas shopping and make it more affordable?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. People are using these sales events to their advantage. But, to be honest, throughout the year, it's still been really, really busy. We've seen, instances where we're certainly beating even pre-pandemic levels. I mean, last financial year, we had 54 million people coming into the mall across the year, which is far exceeding 2019 levels. So it just, for us, it's, still building. And this event in particular continues to build year after year. I mean, last year was a record, and I'm expecting this one to be a record as well.
You mentioned 700,000 over the course of the next few days, which is just an extraordinary large number. You've sought to innovate in that period as well with that number of people, a valet service and a bag drop. Can you take us through what that'll mean for shoppers?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's our award-winning Arundel Mall concierge service. So you can come in, do a little bit of shopping. You can drop your bags at our concierge service. do a little bit more shopping, have something to drink, and then at the end of the day you can come and collect your bags before you go home. But also we have our Rundle Mall valet service, so that's basically like a golf buggy running up and down the mall, taking shoppers up and down the mall, so that's a lot of fun. But also the first 50 customers every single day that use the concierge service will get, vouchers, food vouchers, those sorts of things, and also the opportunity to win a $1,000 Rundle Mall gift voucher. So there's plenty to be had. Also, we've got live music, across the mall for the whole weekend. So bands, DJs, all that sort of stuff. So it's not just about the sales; it's about the whole shopping experience. And I think that's why our customers love coming in. And you can't get that online. So they want to come in and experience the vibe.
There's a lot of stuff you wouldn't want to buy online anyway, I reckon, like certain clothing items, and like shoes. Who buys shoes online? A lot of people clearly do, but you end up having to send them back half the time.
Yeah, that'd be terrifying. Andrew, that's fascinating. There's some of those numbers you mentioned just absolutely staggering. Andrew White, the executive manager of Rundle Mall, ahead of Black Friday again.
Andrew.
Starts tomorrow.
Don't
just feels like it's been.
Do you think terrifying might be too strong a word to describe buying shoes online?
Are we in talk radio or not?
Is it a recognised phobia?
I felt it in the pit of my stomach when you described it.
All the colour drained out of Will's face.
A shiver went up my spine.
Shoes online.
All right, I may have slightly over-egged it.
Someone wants to know, can you guarantee, as one of the co-hosts, that it won't rain torrentially at carols by candlelight this year?
I'm not a stats and probability expert, but I've done 2 carols and both of them have been rained out. So either it's
last year.
Yeah.
Did any of our listeners go to carols by candlelight last year?
Yeah.
Because I love watching Will. I think Will's call of the carols is second to none. And so I was watching it at home. So in fact, I reckon I sent you a text because I think I took a photo of myself on the couch.
Yes, you did.
With my Ugg boots on, holding a glass of red, going, "Hey, mate, what are you up to tonight?" But that was unbelievable. The weather
was crazy.
They almost called it off, didn't they?
Very close to. Yeah, there was a real fear they might, but we persevered. And geez, there are people out there that love carols. They would not be denied.
Rain, sleet, or shine.
So surely you'd think this year it's going to be, weather fine, track fast. Hey, yeah, we heard the remarkable story, the survival story of Brian and Stephen Innes last night on 7 News. These are the guys that were craypot fishermen who boat capsized and they found themselves 2 k's offshore with their 3-legged dog Luna, a little Jack Russell, suddenly trying to work out what they were going to do. 7 hours they spent in the water. They had 1 life jacket, and they knew that their next appointment that someone might miss them at was a coffee date at 2:30 p.m, which is incidentally when the alarm was raised. Here's Stephen Innes on 7 News last night.
If we hadn't have gotten to shore by sunset, no one would have ever found us. We were swamped from behind by some people would call it a rogue wave, seemed to come out of nowhere. He was hanging on to the back of mine with his body underneath me. And little Luna girl, she was with us. She was sitting on my chest. There's probably 3 or 4 occasions, or maybe more even, that I didn't think we were going to make it to shore.
Well, just to say that they decided we're just going to inch our way in. We'll paddle slowly and we'll slowly get there. They ended up having to go twice the distance, they think, of the 2Ks because they got to a certain point. It was freezing, apparently, and the tide pushed them a long, long way. We got in contact with Stephen this morning. Yes, you can see, sounds like a terrific bloke. Unfortunately, he's been caught up in the 3G network changeover. He hasn't got his phone changed. So he can receive a text and send it, but he can't do calls at this point in time. And his brother's phone went down with the ship. So
really?
we did chat with him. We texted him off air, but we haven't been
What about they thought that Luna might have perished? And then when they got to shore, she was waiting for them. She beat them in. Isn't that incredible?
Good on little Luna.
Those blokes are so impressive. They're both aged in their 70s.
Yes.
They must have just had total, what's the word? Just calmness.
They seem like sort of knockabout kind of guys.
Yeah.
2Ks? You know how hard it is to swim 50 metres? If it's not something you do every day?
I haven't tried.
You ever swum at the length of an Olympic pool?
Yeah, it's not easy. If you don't do it
if you
regularly,
don't do
you're suddenly like,
it's a different type of fitness. 2Ks.
Well, in that sort of weather though, too.
Yes.
Like the sea's moving around. It's not like a pool.
No, that's right. remarkable effort with a happy ending.
Hey, there's a text I really want to read here. It's a really thoughtful and important text from Ella. She says, it's frequently said to say that the police report is about armed hold-ups at a variety of small businesses and the non-physical harm to staff who are confronted. Hopefully they receive help for PTSD. Around 60 years ago, my sister, who was 15 and I was 17, we were working in our family deli at Ferryden Park, and we were subjected to one by 3 masked men, one of whom was carrying a gun, so we fully understand how terrifying this is.
Wow.
Fortunately, though, help is there for these crimes today, but nothing for us back then as PTSD wasn't recognised. I hope those who experienced the event at Trott Park are doing okay. Thank you, Ella. And I hope that you and your sister have managed to get on top of things over the last 6 decades. The fact that you can still remember something from 60 years ago that clearly, though, shows that...
Make an impact.
Yeah, and this is what the courts need to recognise that.
Yeah.
You know, these two...
Exactly right.
Scumbags in Trott Park, they should be going away for a very significant amount of time.
Felix from Felixstowe's done me one better. Felix says buying shoes online is soul destroying, but spelled it with a S-O-L-E. Just a bit of play on words there. Let's check traffic. We're going to talk sport just a moment.
Thanks, Will. Smooth sailing on the roads this morning. Accident breakdown free, so a great start today. Do have urgent electrical works at High Marsh to look out for. It's on Port Road near East Street, but not seeing too many delays there at the moment, which is good. Works at Salisbury Plain, Main North Road near the Groveway, and a little sluggish at the moment south at Tonsley as you jump off the Southern Expressway. Got cameras Barramundi Drive, Hullard Cove and Cottage Lane at Hackham. The King Black November sale ends soon. Save up to 60% on selected furniture designs. Hurry, sale ends soon. Shop online or visit a King Living showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
The Premier has stepped up his campaign for an under-16 social media ban, but a senior Liberal Senator, Alex Antic, says it's not the way to go. He joins me now.
None of these things have been properly considered, and one of the reasons for that is the rushed passage of this bill. It was introduced into the Parliament last Thursday. It's a very short time frame for a very complicated area. Frankly, it should be the parent's choice.
Graham Goodings.
I think he makes a lot of sense.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
$20,000. Sounds awesome, yeah? Imagine winning it. Edwardstown Mazda and only Edwardstown Mazda is giving you the chance to win $20,000. Buy a new, demo or used car from Edwardstown Mazda during their incredible 2024 plate clearance sale and you're in the draw. Why would you go anywhere else? Your dream Mazda and $20,000?
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply. T24/1786.
What's on your wish list this Christmas? For people like Tanya, their wishes are more desperate.
I wish I could pay the rent and have some money for food.
Help people like Tanya by donating to the Vinnie's Christmas Appeal. vinnies.org.au.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Black Friday sales are huge. It's the ideal time to get into Harvey Norman if you're thinking of upgrading a Windows computer. Get up to 35% off all Windows computers during the Black Friday sales. Yep, 35% off. You'll also get a great price on these 2 Acer PCs. Acer Aspire Go is down to just $598. That is powered by an Intel i5 chip, and you don't normally find PCs with that sort of power under $600. There's also the Acer Aspire Lite with 16 gig of RAM, powered by the even bigger Intel i7 chip, and that's only $798. Get your favourite tech for less during the Black Friday sale at Harvey Norman.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you.
Chemotherapy, radiotherapy, immunotherapy. Cancer treatment looks different for everyone. At Lift Cancer Care, our team of dietitians, physios, psychologists and exercise physiologists collaborate closely with your medical team to help you navigate your diagnosis. And we're dedicated to building your physical and mental strength to give you the best possible outcomes. So if you or a loved one are ever struck with the C word, think of the L word first. liftcancercare.com.au.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
26 minutes after 7. Here's an interesting text from someone who wants to remain anonymous, and we'll obviously honour that. It says, guys, there are a lot of government buildings right now that have the 3G network on the intercom in the lift in the building, and they're currently out of order due to the shutting down of the 3G network. Now, I reckon we could confirm that one or not pretty easily. I'm sure we've got lots of public service employees listening. Have you mysteriously had the lift in your building out of order for a long period of time? Could it be 3G network related? Let us know. Yeah. Even if you don't want to come on the air, does that marry up with your own experience? 8223 0000, text us on the Duttons text line. You don't have to come on the air, just let us know if that sounds right to you.
Well, and I was just chatting off air. I was doing some work on Google Maps, trying to work out how far 2 kilometres is from where we are now. My guess was the Britannia roundabout. That's 1.7 kilometres away. The start of the parade, so the western end of the Norwood Parade, is exactly 2 kilometres from Hindmarsh Square. That is a long way to swim.
It's a massive distance. You got tide to deal with, and
plus you got to get through the Britannia roundabout.
Well, good luck with that.
I mean, I think it's bad doing it in the car. Try doing it swimming.
Try to explain it to a fish.
That's right.
Jade Roberts been out about meeting with great local businesses for our FIVEAA 12 Days of Christmas. And today she's chatting with Jane Roger from Sydney Street.
On Christmas Day, I always love to find something new, something bright and wonderful to celebrate the day. And the perfect place to find that outfit is Sydney Street. And joining me is owner Jane. Jane, tell us a little bit about Sydney Street.
So Sydney Street's an independent retailer. We've been in business for over 36 years. We carry a really large range, 60 labels from various designers from Australia, New Zealand and even the USA. Yeah, we've got a broad range of beautiful dresses for Christmas. We've got a great range of shoes and jewellery, even glasses and lots of bags and accessories. So there's something here for everyone.
Now, what's happening at Sydney Street at this time of year? Lots of sales, lots of new stock coming in?
Yeah, we've got our Black Friday sale is on this week. It's finishing on Saturday the 30th of November with 20% off store-wide. So this week is an excellent time to come in and have a look. Everything is flying off the shelves though, so be quick.
Not everyone knows how to dress for their body, but that's okay when you step into Sydney Street, isn't it?
It is, Jade. We actually love helping people to find something that works for them, and we can really put together an outfit for them, and basically a free styling service for anyone that comes in.
There is truly something for everybody here, and if you want to spoil that special somebody in your life or yourself, come on down to Unley Road, or you can shop online at sydneystreet.com.au.
And we have a $300 voucher for Sydney Street to give away to the first person who can get through to Sam and Lucy right now on 8223 0055. Looking forward to that as we count down the 12 days of Christmas. We're going to take a break. FIVEAA News is coming up on the other side of it.
9 out of 10, every time.
Matt Abraham is in the building.
If your business needs finance fast, speak to Universal Finance right now. Universal Finance make business loans easy. Unsecured business loans and business overdrafts. Universal Finance can help your business now with same-day settlements in most cases. See Universal Finance in Kent Town or search Universal Finance. This is general advice only, and you should consider the terms and conditions before determining whether this advice is suitable for your situation.
Most new homes are not designed for specialist disability living, which is fine for some homeowners. But if you're living with a disability and want to build a home that complies with the NDIS SDA guidelines, you need Rossdale Home Life. Rossdale Home Life is leading the way in the provision of accessible housing for all South Australians, and our dedicated Home Life team can provide professional advice on the design and construction of your new home or SDA investment property. Rossdale Homes, because trust is a must.
Summer's on the way. Beat the rush and organise your Woolco pool blanket now. Keep your pool clean, warm and reduce evaporation. Uncover the savings with a Woolco pool blanket. Visit woolco.com.au.
Black Friday at Adelaide Appliance Gallery is just around the corner, and we've got some excellent deals to celebrate, like 20% off selected Smeg appliances, 20% off Portofino and Victoria, 15% off Linear and Dolce Stil Novo, 10% off Fab, Sapphire and Diamond dishwashers, as well as 10% off Fab and integrated refrigeration. With offers this good, some terms, conditions and exclusions apply. Call into 155 Paynham Road, St Peters and pick up a Black Friday special, or visit AdelaideApplianceGallery.com.au.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Cloudy and 23 with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen? RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
John Setka, the former boss of the CFMEU, is reportedly seeking workers' compensation. More from Alex Riddell.
John Setka claims he's suffering post-traumatic stress disorder from a deterioration in his mental health while running the union. Multiple sources have told The Australian that Mr Setka has cited a series of incidents as part of the claim, including death threats. Mr Setka resigned from his role in July after a series of damaging allegations were made against him and the union, and is believed to have been paid out more than $400,000 in entitlements. If his workers' compensation claim is accepted, he could be entitled to weekly payments and coverage of medical expenses.
Controversial Senator Lydia Thorpe says she has no regrets after being suspended from the Senate. It followed an outburst at Pauline Hanson, but Senator Thorpe says the One Nation leader was being racist.
When you're subjected to racism, which I have been since I was a kid, I stand up against it, and that's what I did. I ripped up a piece of paper because...
Do you regret that?
No, not at all.
Social media giants will only be required to spend a small percentage of their revenue implementing a ban. The Senate's expected to pass laws prohibiting children from accessing platforms until they're 16. Analysis suggests only 0.1% of Meta's $48 billion revenue will be needed to make the changes. 2 men have been arrested after a terrifying robbery at a Trott Park supermarket on the weekend. It's alleged the pair burst into the shop on Hyson Drive and stole cash and cigarettes before fleeing. Senior Constable Matt Brown says the breakthrough came yesterday.
Police from the Southern Districts, along with detectives, Star Group officers, Crime Gangs Task Force officers and police dog Harriet attended a Trott Park home to conduct a search. And inside, police located 2 men, aged 25 and 21, along with an amount of cash and cigarettes. Police also allegedly located a taser, capsicum spray, illicit substances and equipment.
A number of Donald Trump's cabinet picks have been the target of bomb threats and fake FBI call-outs. Lauren Tomasi's in the US.
This has been a range of bomb threats and swatting attacks where emergency law enforcement teams and SWAT teams are called into fake situations, with the FBI now investigating. The agency saying there have been numerous incidents targeting the incoming administration nominees. The Trump team has called those incidents against the cabinet appointees un-American threats to their lives, and among those targeted is Elise Stefanik, Trump's pick to serve as the next United Nations ambassador. Also Matt Gaetz, who Trump of course has elected as Attorney General. However, Gaetz has since stepped down from that nomination. President Joe Biden and the White House has been briefed on the situation.
And a copper sculpture of a snake has fetched $1.25 million at auction. The Australian work, titled Tide, went under the hammer overnight, selling for a record price. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get a free fuel card with a new Triton, Pajero, Outlander or Eclipse from Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Another big boost for the Adelaide International, which will be played in early January, with some big names added to the field, including Felix Auger-Aliassime, plus 2 top 10 women's players in Jasmine Paolini and Emma Navarro. South Aussie and local favourite Thanasi Kokonakis has already been confirmed. To golf, players are out on the course for the opening round of the Australian Open in Victoria, and it's been a sluggish start for Aussie Cameron Smith, who's currently 1 over through 3 holes. He's currently 3 behind a trio of players who have made a fast start and are 2 under. To football, North Melbourne will be looking for revenge when they take on Brisbane in the AFLW Grand Final on Saturday night. The two teams played each other in last year's Grand Final, which the Lions won by 17 points. North Melbourne defender Libby Birch has told Wide World of Sports it will be an adjustment playing the first night Grand Final.
Really important that we plan our day out on Saturday, because you don't want to play the game out 3 or 4 times before you get there. Whether it's going to the movies or doing something around the house, and I love to have a nap in the afternoons.
Hopes of a Grand Slam tour of the UK and Ireland are gone, but the Wallabies are still hoping to finish things on a high. They'll face Ireland on Sunday morning. Halfback Tate McDermott says there's plenty to play for ahead of the British and Irish Lions tour down under next year.
It'll be a huge confidence boost for this squad.
like you said, the Lions team, you'd assume, would be quite a few Irish in it next year. So, to get one over them would be great.
And in some soccer to finish, second half action in the European Champions League is just about to get underway. Aston Villa and Juventus still locked at 0-0, while it's also goalless in the match between Liverpool and Real Madrid. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Control Air, Australia's commercial refrigeration and air conditioning experts. Visit controlairaustralia.com.au.
Morning there. Roads are going okay for the running today. Accident breakdown free, so a pretty good start. Do have some urgent electrical works to look out for at High Marsh today. It's on Port Road near East Street, but having a look now, no great delay, so that's okay. Tinctury Gully got works Main North Road near Perseverance Road, and we are slow for a bit of activity South Road, Karata Park, speeds at 40 k's for works. Early morning cameras, Hillier Road, Ranella, and Sheriff's Road at Milford Vale. Save big with cracking good Black Friday deals at Repco. Get up to 40% off selected car care and 40% off Repco sheepskin seat covers. Repco, get you going. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Cloudy and 23 today, a possible late shower tomorrow, 25, a possible shower Saturday, 24, and then cloud clearing on Sunday, 26. At the moment, 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
An Australian study will be launched to test a new Novavax vaccine to join the ongoing battle against COVID and flu. The Adelaide investigation, led by Fusion Clinical Research, will involve people aged 65 and older, and Fusion is seeking volunteers to take part. The participants will need to be already vaccinated against COVID. You will be paid for your time. Interested? Go to fusiontrials.com.au or call 7077 6996.
There's hot chili cashews, smoked almonds and delicious spicy peanuts. Merry Christmas, folks. I'm Brett Charlesworth, and they're just 3 of the tantalising products we cook hot and fresh for you in every one of our Charlesworth Nuts stores. There's salted and unsalted nuts, there's spicy, hot chili and smokehouse flavoured, plus our range of designer mixes exclusive to Charlesworth's. Just follow the seductive aroma of freshly cooked nuts to one of our 11 family-owned stores or shop online. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
9 to 10 out of 10 every time.
Matthew Abraham on 5AA Breakfast. A Mitre 10 red hot deals are on. Jump online to find out what's on special. Mighty helpful, Mitre 10. Matthew Abraham, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
Great to have you in, Matt.
Well, it's great to be here. It's great to be here.
You're going to love our breaking it 8 today.
Oh, excellent. Don't? What's the topic? Oh.
State Parliament.
Oh, okay. Well, that's an open field.
Yeah.
Never I saw one. Well, speaking of politics, which is why I am here, interesting to watch the Premier backflip so quickly, as he did on your program, over the new head of advertising for the government, where the Premier said that it didn't pass the pub test, paying somebody, what, 495
427 was the upper limit.
427 grand. I would think that would also, like most of these jobs, would... Have a look, Tizer.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out while you deal with that frog in your
Well, I just
throat,
consult. Well, I've been painting the front gates monument, which is the colour of Unley, as you know.
Monument.
Monument.
That's the sort of khaki colour, isn't it?
No, it's a dark grey.
Of course.
It's almost black, yeah, and it's an epoxy enamel. And I think it's done something to me.
Never inhale, as Bill Clinton said.
That was my problem.
Never inhale.
Anyway, yeah, look, let's call it around $500,000 because they add into it sort of some sort of fancy super package, and there'd be a car involved, home phone, printer, visit to massage therapist once a week to have your feet done or whatever. And the Premier says, that doesn't pass the pub test. So we'll knock $100,000 off it. I just love the way they do that. $100,000. Because you can imagine them sitting there, well, how much will we knock off this so it looks like we're knocking a lot off it? How about 50? No. 50's not enough. No. Let's make it 100 because that's six figures.
That'll do.
100. That's good.
Sounds good.
That brings it down to about, $375 or something. That's
closer to the going rate.
That's okay. You know, I mean, there are a lot of things that don't pass the pub test at the moment. I mean, you've got press secretaries being paid, $250,000, for instance, total package. You might say that doesn't pass the pub test. You've got, I don't want to mention Live Golf, but you've got, undisclosed amounts being paid into that sort of thing. Some people might think that doesn't pass the pub test.
Well, it does seem that when it comes to the use of public money, that there's a very different set of criteria that apply as opposed to in the private sector. And the best current example of it, I think, is what the Vice-Chancellors are paid. And there's now this big discussion around why is it that so many VCs, particularly ones of smaller universities, are all getting well over $1 million. And they're looking at reining in, and there's a debate about whether it's going to be grandfathered so that existing VCs can keep their current packages.
Of course.
But all new VCs... And Bill Shorten's among them. Apparently he's going to get paid less than $1 million when he becomes the Vice-Chancellor of the University of Canberra. But this argument, well, that's just the going rate. Who made it the going rate?
Well, the universities.
Yeah. In the same way that all these public service jobs, that's just the going rate.
I know. I mean, we've got public servants, like $400,000, they wouldn't get out of bed for that. Some of the CEOs in our state public service, but they're getting almost twice what the Premier gets paid.
Don't you reckon it shows, though, Matt, that there are public servants and there's public servants, and, the people have got every right to be screaming, listening to us talking about this and screaming hearing the Premier come on to talk about it. When the idea that this guy, whoever he is, who ends up getting the job, is going to take a bit of a haircut, where his salary is going to plummet from $427K down to, $305K, you're a nurse at the Women's and Children's, working in that building that's teetering on the brink of collapse, keeping kids with leukemia alive. You're a copper who gets gobbed on or punched in the head at Falafel House, and you can't get you've got to jump through every enterprise bargaining hoop in the world to get a pay rise. That's the problem.
Yeah, and so there are a lot of things that don't pass the pub test, but the climate this is happening in is a very dangerous climate for certainly federal Labor, particularly federal Labor. This was in the Advertiser, Daily Telegraph poll by Redbridge, Cos Samaras. We talked about him a few times. Very credible pollster, former Labor advisor. And it is showing that the cost of living is just it is the issue. Everything else is so far down the rung, it's not funny. Cost of living is just a huge issue. Young people are particularly worried by it. The poll found that, I think it was about a minus 30% found that the Albanese government thought the government was focused on the right priorities. In terms of, in 5 years' time, do you think the standard of living will be better or worse since the pandemic? Now, that's in 5 years' time. So you'd think in 5 years' time, that's a fair time for things to recover. No, only 22% thought it'd either be better or somewhat better. Now, they're terrible figures. And according to Samaras, the worst metrics for Labor are blue-collar workers. Now, and they range from either your labourers to small businesses set up by tradies. So, they might have a little business, they might, whatever, plumbers, sparkies, chippies, you name it. They've gone from Labor, according to Samaras.
Well, they're all the people that are most susceptible to a high inflation environment.
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound a hell of a lot like the result we saw in the United States of America a few Tuesdays ago?
Yep.
It's exactly what happened in the Trump election.
Completely.
Exactly. What was the core constituency for the Democrats in America, and that is blue collar, steel workers, car workers, whatever, shifted to Trump. The people who are happy with the Democrats were sort of comfortable middle class professionals, and that again is exactly what comes through in this Redbridge poll. Well, it's almost an exact parallel.
We talked about that, I think, a week before the US election. There was a really interesting analysis that had been done that transposed a map of the places in the United States most impacted by inflation, where places where inflation was higher, with what the local polling had said about the preferred presidential candidate there. And almost one for one, the places hit the hardest were the places that Donald Trump polled the best.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's unreasonable to imagine something similar happening here.
Do you think, though, the two things that people in politics need to be mindful of are, first, you've got to stick closely to the political centre, but second, you've got to sound completely genuine in sharing the concerns of your constituents about cost of living stuff. And this is where, like, we can make the point validly and quibble a bit at the same time about, okay, so this ponytailed ad guy that the state government's going to hire, he's not going to get $4.28. He's going to get, $3.28 or $2.96 or whatever. But there's a difference between Albo vis-a-vis Copacabana, vis-a-vis I'm ringing Alan Joyce, I'd like to move up the front of the plane, oh no, I never said that, or whatever. Days and days and days and days of all this stuff where it looked like he was completely detached, didn't even realise that it was really a story out there in the public's mind where it was running red hot. Whereas at least Malinowskis straight away comes on and goes, no, that doesn't pass the pub test.
Exactly.
And we end up getting texts from, at least Melly's doing something
I actually think, I'm interested in your thoughts, but I think this Labor government, your data bank goes back a lot further than mine.
If only I could remember it.
It's all the paint fumes. As good as any government I can remember has made an art form out of what is usually considered a political weakness, the backflip. Because the discipline of it works like this, and we've seen it on this issue, we've seen it on the museum, we've seen it on a host of these recently, where some nut in the government makes a shocking decision, but here comes the Premier. And he comes in, and sometimes with the museum, it went on for months and months and months, but then once it got across the Premier's desk, he came in and said, no, we're going to restore the funding. This is ridiculous. And it creates this scenario where, well, thank God we've got Peter Malinowskis in charge, right? So they've made it into a strength.
Yeah.
And the only way that works is with a really disciplined team, because I can tell you, if you don't feel like you're well ahead in the polls or it's not going well, you as the responsible minister or the public servant starts going, get stuffed. I'm not standing for this. I came up with the solution only for the old mate to come in and steal all the glory, right? But you can do that when everyone says, well, you know what, it's kind of working. I just don't think it's ever worked this well. Like, it's almost worth him stuffing up occasionally because the Premier benefits out of it. We saw it yesterday with that advertisement.
Completely.
The takeaway from people was, thank God for Peter Malinowskis, because they advertised for a $450,000 spin doctor.
100%. 100%.
Thank God for Peter Malinowskis protecting us from the Peter Malinowskis government.
That's exactly right.
And its decisions, which are taken, assume, like this wasn't taken by some Kev Corduroy down in photocopying. This was taken by the head of his department. Did they have a conversation at any stage? You've got to really think, wait a minute. No. You've got to say to people, they go, no. Pete's got this.
Yeah.
He's got this.
Someone who's very close to Malinowskis ideologically is the former New South Wales Premier Bob Carr, who was Premier for 4 terms and left on his own terms. They say most political careers end in tragedy. Very few people get to just walk out and sail off into the sunset and go, my work here is finished, and make Morris Yemma the next Premier, which is exactly what Bob Carr did. He often sounded like he was the leader of the opposition. There'd be all these massive dramas on the trains, and Carr would stand out there on Macquarie Street and go, I've hauled in the rail chiefs. I have said this is completely unacceptable. The people standing there at Redfern Station, and then there's this conga line of hapless Lib leaders at the time, John Brogden, Kerry Chikarovsky, Peter Collins, Peter Debnam. So this revolving door. And they'd end up standing going, well, we couldn't agree more strongly with what the Premier's just said. It's a good tactic.
Well, I know. It's incredibly cynical. And what do you do? Like, particularly if you're in opposition, because I think the opposition scored a pretty good hit on this one. They really did focus in on it. It looked absurd. It was the dreaded word, the optics weren't good for the government, and they had to act on it. And then the Premier gets credit for the backflip. So, what do you do? I did notice just quickly, speaking of Liberals, that of course Alex Dighton, a new MP for Black, has been sworn in, and that seat Labor should hold that in a general election. Although it's just like they just smashed that one. They've appointed a guy called Graham Greene to...
Not the author.
No! Well, who knows? That might be better. That might be better. Graham Greene, who will hold a review into what went wrong in Black. I would think that'd be a pretty short review.
Everything.
Like, how about you select a local candidate? That'd be a starters. How about the outgoing member doesn't hold a press conference endorsing the out-of-town candidate out front the Christie's Magistrates Court? That shouldn't take too long.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay, job done. Yeah. Give me 400 grand for that one.
Yes.
Anyway, Graham Greene, because I thought that sounds familiar. Could that possibly be the same Graham Greene who was Liberal Party director in the 2014 state election, which the Liberals thought they were just going to romp home? It was put down the glasses.
Measuring the desks.
Which they lost to Jay Weatherill. I think they had swings in just about every seat against them. So I'm surely it wouldn't be the same Graham Greene. Although, maybe you'd get somebody like that who's used to running a losing campaign for your party to tell you why you lost a by-election campaign. Is that unkind?
Well, experience, you say, might win the day. We're going to have more from Matt Abraham coming up in just a moment. But first, traffic. Black Friday sales now on at Barbecue Adelaide, Weber Stores, Jeps Cross and Mile End. Minimum 10% off store-wide.
Thanks, Will. Roads looking after themselves today. We're accident breakdown free, so pretty smooth run to work, which is good. Busy in the usual spots. South Road at Tonsley, Park Terrace, Bowden slow, and starting to build. Brighton Road at Glenelg East to have works at Tigtree Gully, North East Road near Perseverance Road, with only one on cameras, Main South Road, Old Granella, and Ryde Street at Gawler West. Shop and save big during the Black Friday sales at Westfield, open until 9 tonight, with huge savings centre-wide. Head to Westfield, Marion, Tigtree Plaza and West Lakes now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
I'll grab a few people I know. We'll mark out some places to go. There's no invitation, just a destination, and that's the best freedom I know. Jump in the Jayco. Jump in the Jayco. Yeah, that's the best freedom I know.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Are you a chronic DIYer? Do you start projects right before people arrive at your house while your partner's having a conniption? Well, don't worry, this is a treatable condition. Mitre 10 have everything you need to treat chronic do-it-yourselfing.
I tell you what, Matt Abraham should go in there next time he's buying Monument and buy some of those those masks as well. They're good. Keep the paint fumes out. That's right. Now, Mitre 10, we go in there all the time. It's fantastic. They've got red-hot deals running up until Christmas. This week, get 20% off Stanley Fatmax power tools and outdoor power equipment products, but you'd better hurry because this offer only runs from the 28th of November until the 1st of December.
Head into your local Mitre 10 and pick up some great deals to finish all your unfinished projects right in time for Christmas. Visit your local Mitre 10 in-store or shop online at mitre10.com.au. Mighty helpful, Mitre 10.
What's on your wish list this Christmas? For people like Tanya, trapped in the unrelenting cost of living crisis, their wishes are much more desperate.
I wish I could pay the rent this week and have some money for food. I wish I could give the kids a treat. I wish I didn't feel so helpless.
Vinnie's needs your urgent support right now to give people like Tanya emergency relief this Christmas and beyond. Donate to the Vinnie's Christmas Appeal today. vinnies.org.au.
Good afternoon, passengers. Please have your boarding pass and identification ready.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
5 to 8, Matt Abraham in the 5AA Breakfast studio. If you want to watch along, you can certainly do so on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Is it time to rate some spin, man?
Yes, but can we just have a quick correction?
Yes.
In case I've defamed Graham Greene, whoever you are.
Or the estate of Graham Greene.
Graham Greene Plumbers, Inc. It was Jeff Green.
Jeff Green.
Of course.
So thank you for the text.
But it was the guy you referred to.
Yeah.
Everything else
So
was
I've got everything right except the name, which is good enough for me.
Should give yourself a mark out of 10.
Yeah, I think about 1 today. Okay, now look, this is one of my favourite bits of ABC News, after I've watched 7 Night News, is Alan Kohler is reporting his graphs. You know, this graph makes it clear, and you look at it and think, what the hell's that graph about? But anyway, this was some research into how the states are going, people, spending power, and all that sort of stuff in the capital cities. Just have a listen to how he puts this.
Economist Saul Eslake was commissioned by the Financial Review to look into Victoria's finances. And the news is that Tasmania's average annual per capita household income has just passed Victoria's, $53,500 versus $52,700. Next stop in the decline, South Australia, currently the home of Australia's poorest people.
Oh.
Do you think he could have broken it to us a little?
Gee, Alan.
You know, home to Australia's poorest people. Meanwhile, on the stock market.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alan. I'm giving him 0.
Yeah. Cop that,
That
Alan.
was very
dismissive. There's no sympathy in his voice or anything.
It was just
Well, he used to add at the age.
Nation's poorest people. Yeah, I know.
There you go.
Adelaide,
Elitism writ large.
Is that a thing, Adelaide? I don't know. Is that
That's something Dan Andrews would say.
Anyway, now let's move on. This is my main one for today in terms of Mighty Mitre 10's spin. And this was the new Women's and Children's Hospital. They got a tractor there, sort of pushing a bit of dirt round, and the Premier is there, and he's sort of starting to break it to us that this is probably going to cost more than the 430 whatever million that is sort of budgeted for.
Of course there are challenges because it's a massive project. It's a massive project. It's technically complex because it's a hospital.
No S. Sherlock. It's massive.
It's a big building with lots of patients in it, but that's not important right now.
But look, I'll fix it, whatever, don't worry if there's a backflip needed. And a matter of fact, I'll take the credit for the budget blowing out, you know?
I stepped in and decided we're not going to spend any more than $5 billion on this thing. 3.2 billion the budget, by the way, that they're not going to meet.
Help, somebody save us. 6 out of 10.
Nice work.
Leslie Nielsen is Peter Malinowskis.
Nothing to see here.
Stop calling me Mally.
Please disperse.
That's right. Excellent, mate.
Magnificent, Matt. We'll catch you next week.
If you're packing up your family to travel across the land will treat you different in a Dave Benson caravan.
Here at DBC, it's the end zone of our $500,000 sale. With hotter deals than ever, ample stock and on-site manufacturers helping us crunch the numbers hard. Ending in a massive 3-day blitz as we team up with Electric Bug and Barbecue Adelaide for on-site bargains. Thursday 29 to Saturday November 30. Get on in today, because the best bargains of the year are only here at Dave Benson Caravans.
Hey Dad, it's me. You're a man in the know. Know a good electrician?
Sure do. Call BMS Electrical. They came out last week and were fantastic. They rewired the shed, installed a new ceiling fan and put 4 downlights in the veranda. Best of all, they arrived on time, gave me an accurate quote and explained exactly what needed to happen. You can trust them. Here, let me get you their number.
As always, you know Dad.
BMS Electrical, where trust is our trade. Call 8274 0100 or find us online.
Ever had the feeling you're being watched online? Scammers are always looking for new ways to con you. They're criminals and they're clever. But Australian banks have joined forces in the war against them. Intelligence sharing between banks will identify new types of scams faster. A new payment system to ensure you pay the right person is being rolled out. Unique identity checks will defend against identity theft. And there'll be more double checks when you're paying someone new. Australian banks are working to protect you.
Black Friday at Adelaide Appliance Gallery is just around the corner, and we've got some excellent deals to celebrate, like 20% off selected Smeg appliances, 20% off Portofino and Victoria, 15% off Linear and Dolce Steel Novo, 10% off Fab, Sapphire and Diamond dishwashers, as well as 10% off Fab and integrated refrigeration. With offers this good, some terms, conditions and exclusions apply. Call into 155 Paynham Road, St Peters and pick up a Black Friday special, or visit adelaideappliancegallery.com.au.
The very latest news and information. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Cloudy and 23 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Make RAA approved windscreen repairer Complete Windscreens your insurer repairer of choice. Visit completewindscreens.com.au.
New world-leading laws banning political donations have passed state parliament overnight. The new laws impose mandatory expenditure caps on parties, candidates and third parties, which include businesses and unions. It'll take effect ahead of the March 2026 state election. Special Minister of State Dan Cregan says it'll mean a fairer playing field.
We're determined to ensure that we can get donations out of politics and extinguish the doubt that voters have in their minds that money can buy influence or access in South Australia. We also want to make sure that there's a system to support existing candidates and parties and independents in Parliament and allow for challenges to those incumbents as well.
Local tomato growers want answers about their future, so they're taking their questions to Parliament House. Today's rally's been organised in the wake of a devastating virus which has brought the local industry to its knees. Growers say ineffective testing and crackdowns on exporting the produce needs to be addressed. Tony Sacker from De Salvatore Farms says they're in a holding pattern.
But what do we do with the product? We have to dump it. So it's costing millions per day. It's become an economical disaster. Sure, biological disaster. It might have been. It wasn't. Thank God that it wasn't. But now it's become an economical disaster because of the paperwork, the intricacies about testing and ongoing. It's making it so hard for us to sell.
Cars ploughed into several buildings and a block of units on Main Road at Blackwood overnight. Senior Constable Matt Brown says 2 men did a runner, leaving a female passenger behind.
No one inside the block of units was injured, and patrols searched the area with the assistance of police dog Enzo, but the 2 men were unable to be located. The female passenger, a 23-year-old Christie's Beach woman, was not injured, but she was later arrested for disorderly behaviour and hindering police. So she's been bailed to appear in court at a later date. And inquiries continue to identify and locate the driver and the other passenger.
John Setka has lodged a workers' compensation claim alleging he has post-traumatic stress disorder from his time running the CFMEU. The Australian reports the former boss of the construction union has cited a series of incidents, including death threats. He's resigned from his role after a series of damaging allegations were made against him and the union back in July. He's believed to have been paid out more than $400,000 in entitlements. Patients needing life-saving medicine are waiting an average of 14 months for it to be listed on the PBS. Gabrielle Hodson has details.
Getting a life-changing medicine approved by the Therapeutic Goods Administration is one thing, but industry body Medicines Australia says you could be waiting an estimated 442 days for it to be listed on the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme. If you can't wait, you're looking at bills worth thousands of dollars. News Corp says more than a dozen oncology experts and patient groups have thrown their support behind a federal fund that would pay for access for people with no alternative treatments. Medicines Australia says the bridging funding is vital and should be an urgent priority.
And tonight's Powerball is the 6th largest jackpot in Australian lottery history. It's worth $100 million. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Get a free fuel card with a new Triton, Pajero, Outlander or Eclipse from Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Cricket first. Tasmanian all-rounder Bo Webster is set to be included in Australia's squad for the second test here in Adelaide as preparations begin for that match on Friday week. Webster is set to come in with concerns over the fitness of fellow all-rounder Mitch Marsh, who battled throughout the opening test in Perth. Meantime, the Sydney Thunder has won the knockout in the Women's Big Bash, ending the season for the Hobart Hurricanes. To golf, local Jasper Stubbs has made a red-hot start at the Australian Open in Victoria and is currently 3 under early in his round. Some of the big names are on the course, including Cam Smith, Lucas Herbert and Cam Davis. They're all currently at even par. Well, Australia's most capped footballer is preparing to make her final appearance in national colours. Defender Claire Polkinghorne will retire after tonight's friendly against Brazil in Brisbane. Meantime, Liverpool's hot run of form looks set to continue as they now lead Real Madrid 1-0 with about 20 minutes to play in their European Champions League clash. The goal coming early in the second half, much to the delight of the home fans.
Bradley, it's McAllister. It's 1-0 to Liverpool. Such an impressive start to this second half from the men in red, and they have their reward.
It was a lovely goal too. Audio thanks to Stan Sport. Elsewhere, Aston Villa and Juventus are still all square at 0-0, while Celtic and Club Brugge are locked at 1-1. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now I'm checking 5AA traffic.
Control Air, Australia's commercial refrigeration and air conditioning experts. Visit controlairaustralia.com.au.
At Modbury North, got traffic lights on the Blink North East Road near Golden Grove Road. A little bit slow for works at Wingfield, the Salisbury Harbour to the Wingfield ramp. A little bit sluggish for the drive in this morning. Southward at Tonsley's got off the Southern Expressway. And getting busy Marion Road at the Anzac Highway intersections. Cameras, where are they today? Hillier Road, Ranella, and got another one, Ryde Street, Gawler West. Harris Scarf's Black Friday sale is on, and it just got bigger with hot daily deals from big brands across bedding, linen and electrical. Exclusions apply. Harris Scarf, great brands, great prices. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
A cloudy day heading for 23, a possible late shower tomorrow 25, a possible shower Saturday 24, then cloud clearing on Sunday 26. Right now 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
It's a beautiful day. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. It is a Thursday morning as well, which means we've got a Care Alert Smart Dialer to give away.
And we keep wanting to bring more people in. Why?
Just getting a little bit frustrated ringing some of our larger organisations.
They're on a good wicket and I'm getting no justice for my dollars.
Sound off, sound off, sound off, sound off. Haters count.
If there's something you'd like to get off your chest to sound off, something you'd like to complain about, have a whinge, point out the unfairness of it or the incompetence or whatever it might well be, 8223 is the number, and you can win yourself.
Good for the soul.
It is good for you. It's good. You add years to your life. Use your home care package through My Aged Care or NDIS. You can get a Care Alert for free. Visit carealert.com.au or call us with your sound off. You too could get a Care Alert for free simply by doing that. Hundreds of dollars worth of peace of mind. A great local South Australian product. It's time for Breaking at 8.
I should preface this story by saying I spent almost a full year of my life covering the inner workings of the state's upper house, and it can be a pretty frustrating and bizarre sort of a spectacle. Normally, though, it's not the president of the upper house, the Legislative Council, who expresses his disdain for what's unfolding in as pithy and profane a fashion as Liberal MLC Terry Stevens, who is, of course, the president of the LegCo. Now, we've bleeped this out on taste grounds, and we know a lot of people are, dropping their kids off at school and what have you, but this is... We'll just play it, because what happened yesterday was that amidst the usual faffing around over who's putting what motions and who's on next and the interjections in the name calling, and we saw federally yesterday, and we're going to get into this after 8:30, the debate around parliamentary standards is one that often runs hot, and we've got Lydia Thorpe making a half-wit of herself in Canberra. Anyway, poor old Terry Stevens. It all became a little bit too much for him, and in front of a live microphone, begging the question, is this actually going to be appearing in the published version of Hansard, this is what the Upper House President had to say.
Now, if you've ever watched the Legislative Council over an extended period of time, that's the most relatable thing anyone's ever said.
Completely. I reckon I used to say it about once an hour while I was sitting there on my own in that little box watching them all carry on.
When you work in an office in Parliament House, there are these old Cold War era style little speakers, and they have a little switch on them, and you can switch it to House of Assembly or Legislative Council. And in each office, you can always hear what's being discussed in there. And I wanted to say that so many times when it was switched to Legco.
I'm not sure what the banging is after it. I'm not sure if he's banging his hand on his desk.
Just wondering what he did in life to end up the president of the Legislative Council.
There's vision of it.
It's an iPad on a desk.
It's an iPad being put down, but he's clearly had an absolute gutful. Now, I don't know whether, because the thing is, as one of the presiding officers of the Parliament, it is your job to maintain and uphold standards. It's where the term unparliamentary language comes in. Now, I was trying to work this out last night. From memory, I think there's only one MP, certainly federally, who's ever been done for dropping the F-bomb, and it was Gareth Evans in an exchange, the former foreign minister in the Hawke government, Gareth Evans in an exchange with Bronwyn Bishop, who was getting under his grill. So I don't know.
Is he going to have to name himself? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, he will probably have to apologise. And today, I think, is the last sitting day of the year, because it is unparliamentary language. But, you know, I think in this day and age, it's hardly a hanging offence. But, you know, I'm not sure what your key performance indicators are as the president of the Legislative Council, but I'm pretty sure that saying the F word in a live microphone isn't one of them. He's a really good bloke, Terry Stevens.
He is an excellent guy, Terry Stevens. He's very relatable and he seems like a normal bloke, which is probably what any normal person in that chair would act like if they were subject to sit there and witnessing it. All right, 12 minutes after 8. The sixth biggest lottery ever in Australia is going to jackpot tonight, potentially, worth $100 million. Now, the biggest ever was $150 billion. It was won here in South Australia, and it was won by someone who purchased a ticket, the OTR Salisbury drive-through. It's the one at 138 Salisbury Highway in Salisbury. If you were going there to buy a ticket today, let us know. Is this your regular stop-off spot? We've called them.
Maybe now.
They don't want to come on to discuss it, which I guess, you know, maybe they don't believe that, you know, past performance is a, you know, indicator of future returns. Future returns.
That's what they say in all the financial plans.
That's exactly right. If you're going there today to buy a ticket, let us know. Or if you've got a superstition to try and get yourself to win the $100 million, if you've got a lucky charm or an approach, maybe you're going to avoid it because you say statistically it's unlikely you're going to sell another big winner. Whatever your approach is, let us know. 8123
Far be it from us to try to answer mathematical questions live. Is there any statistical meaning behind the likelihood or otherwise of the second ticket being bought there? Or are they discrete events?
I think they're discrete events, are they? The true sort of study of statistics.
Help us out, maths people. Can you answer that question?
Well, that's like saying if it's the coin's flipped and it's been heads 4 times in a row, is it more likely to be tails next time? What are the odds? And the odds are still 50-50.
Okay. Jane with a Y. Impassioned defence of Terry Stevens. Ha ha, good on him. That's exactly what I'd say if I was in charge of that circus. Thank you, Jane.
All right, let's sound off.
We keep wanting to bring more people in. Why?
Just getting a little bit frustrated ringing some of our larger organisations.
They're on a good wicket and I'm getting no justice for my dollars.
All right. Andrew's called in and he was early out of the blocks on the sound off too, which is usually a very good sign. Andrew, good morning to you. The airwaves are yours.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David. I'm going off crook about the useless council that I have representing me, the Adelaide City Council, regarding their so-called proposed development of Hutt Street, removing car parks, destroying the local businesses, which Hutt Street is a different type of part of Adelaide. They are obsessed with bikes. That's the best way to put it about the Adelaide City Council. They are obsessed with bikes, and it's got to stop, because they're just going to destroy all the local businesses and kill the city in the same time. It's ridiculous.
That's a good one, Andrew.
That's a terrific sound off,
That is
Andrew.
excellent.
That
Poor
is
old Hutt Street. Hutt Street's been copping it for years, hasn't it?
Oh.
On again, off again ideas, and gets the disruptions every year from the race as well that drives a lot of the businesses there mad.
Andrew, you've got a Care Alert Smart Dialer coming your way. Everyone else, you can use your home care package through My Aged Care or NDIS for a Care Alert for free. Visit carealert.com.au. Thank God for councils.
Care Alert.
They fuel a lot of the sound off segment.
Oh,
Without
yeah.
them, it'd be much slimmer pickings.
Yeah, no, I think many a Care Alert Smart Dialer has been given away as a result of council red tape.
They're content machines, that's for sure.
They are.
Time to check traffic. Black Friday sales are now on at Barbecue Adelaide, Weber Stores, Jeps Cross and Mile End. Minimum 10% off store-wide.
Thanks, Will. Still got those lights on the blink at Modbury North and Off East Road near Golden Grove Road. Getting busy in the usual spots this morning. Fitzroy Terrace, North Adelaide, Park Terrace at Bowden, and pretty sluggish at the moment, South Road at Tonsley as you jump off the Southern Expressway. Works to look out for today at Cheltenham, Port Road near Cheltenham Parade with the camera, Sheriff's Road at Morford Vale. JB Hi-Fi's Black Friday Blitz is on now with crazy deals like 40% off JBL Flip 6 Bluetooth speakers. JB's Black Friday Blitz on now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Stephen Rowe and Tim Jennifer.
Is the baggy green the most coveted, sought-after, iconic sporting piece of Australian memorabilia?
I always feel if it's something that's significant,
they should be in a museum.
Yeah, and that's for everybody to enjoy, and I think I can see the joy it's bringing other people. And that's what it does.
The 5AA Sports Show.
And I wouldn't want something that I didn't sweat and earn and get myself.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
There's naughty or nice, stunning and stylish, or tasty and tasteful. Merry Christmas, folks. I'm Brett Charlesworth, and they're just three of the eye-popping Christmas gifts we make for you at Charlesworth Nuts. They're all overflowing with our amazing nuts and chocolates and made with great pride by our talented South Aussie team. With 100 different gift boxes, packs and hampers, there is literally something for everyone. You simply can't go wrong. 11 family-owned stores or shop online. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
Just call Ken Hall. We'll be there anytime at all. Just call Ken Hall.
Is a leaky tap or toilet drip driving you crazy? Need new lights or fans installed quickly? Is it time for aircon maintenance or a roof repair? Ken Hall handles all your small jobs with care. We are plumbers, electricians, roofers and air conditioning experts. Working for you since 1983. Just call Ken.
Just call Ken Hall.
As adults, it often feels like joy takes a back seat. Between bills, work, kids and in-laws, the daily grind can leave us feeling a little joyless. But here's some good news. There's a simple way to bring joy back into your life. A visit to Adelaide Appliance Gallery for their Black Friday sale.
And what a range it is. 20% off selected Smeg appliances, 20% off Portofino and Victoria, 15% off Linear and Dolce Stil Novo, 10% off FAB, Sapphire and Diamond dishwashers, as well as 10% off FAB and integrated refrigeration.
With offers this good, obviously some terms, conditions and exclusions apply. Choose joy by picking up a Black Friday special at Adelaide Appliance Gallery, 155 Paynham Road, St Peters.
Hi gardeners, Charlie Allbone here. Water is the key to maintaining a healthy garden. That's why I use Rich Grow Easy Wet Soil Soaker. It lets the water in and keeps the roots hydrated. Easy Wet is easy to use on lawns, gardens, pots and edibles, and its new granulated formula creates the Rich Grow effect for greener lawns and stronger, healthier plants. Grab some today and grow you good things. Available at Bunnings Warehouse.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
And they could never tear us apart.
David Kosh on 5AA Breakfast.
Compare the Market Economic Director, Port Adelaide Football Club Supremo, David Kosh, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Koshy, good morning to you.
Morning, James.
Koshy, I want to ask you first, we're going to get into CPI data that came out yesterday and what it might mean, I think, not just for mortgage holders, but indeed the Albanese government, because it might just be the most important variable in the lead up to the next federal election. I want to ask you first about a story that broke in the United States earlier in the week, where Donald Trump announced that on day one of assuming his role as the president in the White House, he'll be signing an executive order to impose extraordinary tariffs, 25% on Mexico, 25% on Canada, an extra 10% on China as well. And it seems he's signalling very early that he's very serious on his election commitment to impose tariffs. From an Australian perspective, what does a trade environment look like? What are the impacts on the Australian dollar, on Australian exporters, imports, consumers, cost of living and so forth, if that's what the new world looks like?
Massive. It makes our exporters less competitive into the United States. What the Albanese government will, and Don Farrell, the trade minister, will argue to the Americans is that, you know, you've got the best of the trade deal between Australia and United States, where we're basically a net importer of goods from the United States. So they're certainly in the positive with the trade deal between us. Different with China, of course. They import a lot more Chinese goods than they export to China. It's the reverse here. So he'll be arguing that, hey, you know, we're not the big bogey in this, so we need to be treated a bit differently. What it does in the United States, though, is that you start putting these tariffs or increasing extraordinary amounts of tariffs, that will flow through to inflation in the United States. And all of this view, and the Federal Reserve, their equivalent of our Reserve Bank, has already started cutting interest rates. So they're expected to cut a lot more in 2025. Well, now that's not so certain, because if you see a spike in inflation, interest rates cuts will stop, and indeed could reverse and go up to keep inflation under control. So that's the danger for them.
Don't you think, too, that just the unpredictability in an economic sense of the world that we're now entering, Koshy? I mean, the thing is, Mexico and Canada, the US is part of NAFTA, like the North American Free Trade Agreement.
They're meant to be mates.
Yeah.
And this is what he's doing. He's turning everything upside down. Now, whether he delivers on any of this, you know, it seems to be the classic case of, you know, he's a politician that will say anything to get elected, and once you are in power, you just do whatever you like, whether you follow through or not. Like the mass deportation of illegal immigrants. 14% of the US construction sector of the workforce is illegal migrants. 11% of the farming industry are illegal migrants. Well, if the economy would collapse without them. It's ridiculous, some of the things he's saying. But what a lot of economists are saying, if he delivers on it all, big if, it will be highly inflationary in the US. And markets hate uncertainty. And particularly when you have an American share market at record levels at the moment and valuations almost at record levels, there are quite a few nervous people around.
Hey, Koshy, we were chatting before to the Rundle Mall people about how they're expecting the Black Friday sales, and this is in terms of not online, but the actual foot traffic in the sort of bricks and mortar retail space to be even bigger than Boxing Day. What's your take on it, given that the dominant story of the last 18 months has been the cost of living crisis, that there's this mass splurge? Do you think people are maybe timing their bigger purchases around Black Friday now to save?
Oh, definitely. This time last year, retail sale figures for December came out, and the Bureau of Statistics made the point that Australians have shifted their shopping habits from doing their Christmas shopping in December to Black Friday in November. Everyone wants a bargain at the moment. And when Creditor Watch the other week came out with the amount of small businesses, particularly retail, that are going under at the moment, it is because Australian consumers, because of cost of living, want a bargain, but businesses are copping extra costs in terms of wages, energy costs, insurance costs and the like, and they just can't pass it on because consumers are saying, We don't care that your costs are going up. We want a bargain to make ends meet. And it will be probably even bigger this year than it was last year, I think, because of the cost of living.
And Koshy, your read on that CPI data yesterday, this is Will's ballywick, not mine, but it looked like even though there'd been a reduction, didn't a lot of it come from like power bills and stuff like that? That's not actually going to make a difference to the rate argument?
Power prices slid 12% just in a month. They're down 35% from a year ago, all artificially because of the Commonwealth Government's energy bill relief, and also Queensland and Western Australian state governments added their own rebates for energy. Remember, that headline rate is not what the Reserve Bank looks at when it's assessing inflation or whether to cut interest rates. It is the trimmed mean, which takes out all of those one-off volatile elements, like a government subsidy, to give a true indication of inflation. And in fact, the trim mean went up in October from 3.2% in September to 3.5%. So the Reserve Bank's reading of that monthly CPI figure yesterday is that inflation is not slowing. In fact, it's picking up. So don't be fooled by the headline rate. And the Reserve Bank board minutes last week said the Reserve Bank want 2 consecutive quarters, this is quarters, not months, 2 consecutive quarters where the trimmed mean inflation is within 2 to 3% before they will cut interest rates. So we may not get an interest rate cut before the next election, which has got to be held at the latest end of May. Yeah.
Wow. That would be potentially a death sentence for the Albanese government, you'd imagine.
Well, that's why Jim Chalmers is being so vocal at the moment on their credentials and taking on the Reserve Bank, saying, you're being mean, you should be dropping interest rates because the headline rate is within the target band. Now, sure, Bullock is going, don't, in Reserve Bank speak, don't con us by passing on these subsidies and rigging inflation. We ignore that. We see what's happening in the proper economy rather than what you fiddle around with.
I think calling them mean is probably not a good way to sweet talk them into doing it either. They'll just make them even more stuck in their ways. So
no, exactly right.
Yeah.
So what you see is what you get. What you're seeing now is going to be the environment, I think, for at least another 6 or 7 months. It's not going to improve much.
Excellent stuff as always, Koshy. Thank you. Because a lot of that stuff I was thinking, I can't wait to talk to you about this, particularly the Trump stuff, because it's such a wild and unpredictable era we're entering. David Koch, the Compare the Market Economic Director, and of course Port Adelaide Football Club Chairman.
We've received so many texts over the course of the last 2.5 hours of people arguing, debating, wanting to hear more about what took place in the Senate yesterday. Lydia Thorpe has been banned for 2 sitting days. She had a fight with Pauline Hanson about something Pauline Hanson raised about Fatima Poman. You're going to hear it all next. So if you're wondering what the brouhaha is, what the fallout is, and you want to have your say, you're going to get to do it right after 5AA News.
At Spotlight's Black Friday sale, Emerald Hill Shiloh Shaggy Rug, $69. Kitchen Couture 4.5 litre air fryer, $39. And My Genie Wet Mop 2-in-1 cordless stick vacuum, $99. All back by our bargain guarantee. Sale on now. Exclusions apply. At Spotlight, it's what you make it.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
At Coles, save with great half-price specials this week. Like half-price kettle potato chips or Crafted Collection, 150 to 165 grams, now just $3.25. That's great value, hands down, at Coles. Offer ends Tuesday.
Lock in some fun this Black Friday with 20% off mini golf at Holy Moly Golf Club. Use code CYBERFUN20 online to redeem until the 6th of December for bookings up until the end of the year. T's and C's apply. Search Holy Moly for details.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And South Australian Business Chamber and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between South Australian Business Chamber and Ray White Business Sales SA, all that experience flows to you. This ensures you're in top shape, whether you're buying, selling, or somewhere in between. Touch base with the experts. Search Ray White Business Sales SA. Proudly partnered with South Australian Business Chamber.
$20,000. Sounds awesome, yeah? Imagine winning it. Edwardstown Mazda and only Edwardstown Mazda is giving you the chance to win $20,000. Buy a new, demo or used car from Edwardstown Mazda during their incredible 2024 plate clearance sale and you're in the draw. Why would you go anywhere else? Your dream Mazda and $20,000?
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply. T24/1786.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Cloudy and 23 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Chipped windscreen. RAA approved repairer Complete Windscreens repairs it from just $99. Find the big red koala.
Political donation reforms have passed state parliament overnight. The new laws aim to limit the influence of wealthy Australians and lobby groups on elections by capping the amount a person can donate to a candidate. Special Minister of State Dan Cregan says the laws pass with the support of the Libs and crossbenchers.
The government's been very careful to listen to stakeholders in the course of its consultation process and also to MPs, including independents and minor parties. And it's trying to calibrate the legislation to ensure there is a fair playing field for all. But of course, if there are challenges to the legislation, then we're determined to defend those challenges in the High Court as may be necessary.
Senator Lydia Thorpe has been suspended from Parliament after an outburst at One Nation leader Pauline Hanson. She's been blocked from voting and debating in the chamber. Foreign Affairs Minister Penny Wong backed the move, describing her behaviour as disrespectful.
This fortnight alone, the Senator has been censured by the Senate, sworn in the chamber, repeatedly made offensive gestures when leaving the chamber. This behaviour would not be tolerated in any workplace, and we cannot tolerate it in our workplace.
A Supreme Court judge will today decide whether New South Wales police officer Christian White will have his bail revoked after being found guilty of manslaughter. 95-year-old Claire Nolan died after being tasered by Senior Constable White at a Cooma nursing home. The judge is considering whether he should be held in custody until a sentencing hearing in the coming weeks. A breakthrough for police investigating an aggravated robbery at a Trott Park supermarket on the weekend. They've arrested two men aged 21 and 25 from Trott Park and seized an amount of cash and cigarettes as well as a taser, capsicum spray, illicit substances and equipment. Both men have been charged with aggravated robbery and possessing a prohibited weapon. They'll appear in court today. New penalties are now in effect regarding the sale of illicit tobacco and vapes in SA. Mel Usher has details.
South Australia now has some of the highest penalties in the nation when it comes to the sale of illicit vapes and tobacco. From today, breaches can attract a fine of up to $1.5 million. That covers advertising tobacco products, selling without a licence, sales to a minor, and sales of illicit tobacco or possession for the purpose of sale. And there are new offences regarding e-cigarettes. The new penalties come in the wake of SAPOL's Operation Eclipse, a task force focused on the state's illicit tobacco war.
Family members of a woman who was killed by her housemate have voiced their disgust at moves to allow Alicia Schiller out of jail in Victoria to undergo IVF. Schiller was jailed for at least 16 years in 2017 after being found guilty of murdering her housemate. The victim's sister has described the IVF move as insane. Now I'm turning to 5AA Sport.
Get a free fuel card with a new Triton, Pajero, Outlander or Eclipse from Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Mawson Lakes.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Cricket first and Tasmanian all-rounder Beau Webster is set to be called into the Australian Test squad as cover for Mitch Marsh, who went into the first test against India a little bit underdone. The second test gets underway in Adelaide next week. Still on cricket, the Sydney Thunder have booked a place in the Women's Big Bash Grand Final qualifier after taking down the Hobart Hurricanes by 6 wickets. Sydney captain Phoebe Litchfield steered her side to the victory in the knockout match. They'll now head to Brisbane to meet the Heat.
They finished third in the competition. They've won the knockout. They will go through to play the Brisbane Heat in the Challenger on Friday evening.
Audio there thanks to Fox. Let's go to golf, and the Australian Open is underway in Victoria. Cameron Smith, after his scathing criticism of the way the course has been set up, has fired 3 straight birdies and is now 2 under through 7 holes. He's 2 shots off the lead. That's being held by Jean Bakarian. Lucas Herbert has also started impressively. He is also 2 under par. Well, defending European Champions League champions Real Madrid are in danger of failing to qualify for the knockout stages this season after falling to Liverpool 2-0 this morning. Madrid trailed 1-0 and had the chance to level things up with a penalty on the hour mark.
It's Kylian Mbappe, and Callaghan makes the save! Anfield goes wild as Callaghan leaps to his left to deny Kylian Mbappe.
Audio there thanks to Stan Sport. The home side are now sitting on top of the standings with 5 wins from 5 matches. They are flying Liverpool. Elsewhere, Aston Villa thought they'd beaten Juventus with a winner in the 94th minute, but the goal was disallowed on VAR. The match finishing at 0-0, while Celtic and Club Brugge also shared the points in a 1-1 draw. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the traffic.
Control Air, Australia's commercial refrigeration and air conditioning experts. Visit controlairaustralia.com.au.
At Modbury North, traffic lights out on North East Road near Golden Grove Road. Glen Osmond, a breakdown. Cross Road near Glen Osmond Road. Seeing delays inbound there. Bit slow for works at Teacher Gully. North East Road near Perseverance Road. Getting busy. Main North Road at Enfield. And super sluggish South Road at Mile End. Cameras, Barramundi Drive, Hullett Cove and Cottage Lane at Hackham. The Volkswagen Amarok sales event has utes to carry tools or school bags or surfboards and lots more at prices for everyone. Offer ends November 30, excludes Panamericana and Adventure Diesel. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Stay cool. Service your aircon at Automasters. And keep cool with Cool Now, Pay Later options.
Cloudy and 23 today, a possible late shower tomorrow, 25, a possible shower Saturday, 24, then cloud clearing on Sunday, 26. At the moment, 18. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Black Friday sales are huge. It's the ideal time to get into Harvey Norman if you are thinking of upgrading a Windows computer. Get up to 35% off all Windows computers during the Black Friday sales. Yep, 35% off. You'll also get a great price on these 2 Acer PCs. Acer Aspire Go is down to just $568. That is powered by an Intel i5 chip, and you don't normally find PCs with that sort of power under $600. There's also the Acer Aspire Lite with 16 gig of RAM, powered by the even bigger Intel i7 chip, and that's only $798. Get your favourite tech for less during the Black Friday sale at Harvey Norman.
Check out this great offer at a Harvey Norman store near you. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
23 to 9, South Australian Senator Karen Little is going to join us before 9 o'clock this morning. She was in the chamber when it all went down yesterday, an exchange that resulted in the suspension of Lydia Thorpe for the final 2 days of the sitting year in federal parliament. It was an exchange that didn't actually involve her directly. It was between Pauline Hanson and Fatima Payman, in which Pauline Hanson was called a racist. She was questioning Senator Payman's...
A convicted racist, she called her.
Yeah, that's right. And she was questioning Senator Payman's eligibility to sit in the chamber, given she hadn't renounced her citizenship. She's got that small hurdle, and I'm no fan of the politics of Fatima Payman, but it's kind of hard to get the Afghan Department of Immigration to process anything at the moment.
Well, yeah, they're not big sticklers for...
They're not paperwork people, the Taliban.
The old Taliban, no.
So anyway, that all unfolded. We're going to get into that in just a moment and chat with Karen Little about what she witnessed and what took place from her perspective. Also,
where's Terry Stevens when you need him?
He would have sorted that out with some fairly robust language, I reckon, very, very quickly. First, though, let's have a look at the Fuel Watch. Get off, poor old Terry. Fuel Watch, it's better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Download the RAA app and start saving today. Petrol's still sitting cheap, $1.59 for most of Adelaide. Even cheaper at the ex-convenience on Doothie Street Parkside, where it's at $1.57. Few have jumped up this morning. You can see it for $2.04 in some places, so maybe it's a good time to fill up before they all follow suit. Diesel sitting in the $1.70s, the cheapest diesel, the ex-convenience Port Adelaide on Grand Junction Road, where it's $1.67. Our very own Sam Daddo is in Rundle Mall this morning on the eve of Black Friday's official start tomorrow. Wanted him to get a sense down there about whether it's busy at a time where, as we know, it's been very, very quiet in the city at this time of day recently. Sam Daddo, good morning to you.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Yes, I've come down to the mall this morning. We've been talking about Black Friday the last few days, and you come down to the mall, you have a look at some of the outlets. Nike's offering up 40% store-wide, Rebel Sport 25% off clothing, Smiggle's offering up about 50% off all their best gifts. And it's really taken on the last few years where we used to think, what the hell is Black Friday? And now Black Friday is all the rage. There aren't too many people lined up shopping. I mean, the shops, some of them aren't even open yet. But I did catch up with a few punters in the mall here, and I just got a sense of what their thoughts on Black Friday is. Now, Carlo, Black Friday, will you be joining in? What's your thoughts?
I don't mind it. Yeah, sometimes if you can get a good bargain and something that you really need, yeah, by all means, yeah.
Have you found yourself in sales periods buying things you don't necessarily need, but they're cheaper?
Sometimes I do. It's that temptation that's there. But yeah, if it's something I really need, I'll wait for it and buy it on Black Friday.
I'm joined by Louise here in the mall. What's your thoughts on Black Friday?
Oh, well, I usually don't involve myself in them, but I think they're great fun for people, and especially when they've got lovely bargains for people. Yes.
Have you bought anything this year yet?
No, I haven't.
I'm joined by Louise here in the mall. What's your thoughts on Black Friday?
Oh, well, I usually don't involve myself in them, but I think they're great fun for people, and especially when they've got lovely bargains for people. Yes.
Have you bought anything this year yet?
Louisa was so eloquent, we heard from her twice, which is excellent. But thank you. Thank you, Sam.
Have you bought anything?
No, I haven't. I've been tempted to, though.
Because a couple of things.
The internet does a really good way of making sure you find out about the things you're interested in these days. Doesn't
It's funny, isn't it?
It's remarkable.
Yeah.
It's frightening how effective it is at going, you know that thing you were looking at 6 months ago? Well, here it is now, and it's for sale. But I've been amazed at the sophistication of all that kind of stuff at the moment.
Well, that's when you say accept all cookies.
That's what it's doing.
And then they can do tailored ads.
Yep.
Which explains why mine said, would you like 50% off tequila? Yes, of course I would.
Yes, I would.
What sort of an idiotic question is that?
I'm not sure.
Here's my credit card.
Not sure sophistication is the word I'd use to describe what went down in the Senate yesterday. Lydia Thorpe is going to be suspended for the last 2 sitting days of the year. She tore up papers and threw them at Pauline Hanson from the One Nation Party after Pauline Hanson started questioning the eligibility of Labor Senator Fatima Payman, well, former Labor Senator, should I say, she's no longer.
Independent, yeah.
Independent Senator Fatima Payman, to sit in the chamber due to her Afghan citizenship. She said, you haven't actually officially renounced it. That's the constitution in Australia. Should you even be here? Fatima Payman said, well, you are a convicted racist. I've taken every feasible step to renounce my citizenship. There's nothing more I can do. And then Lydia Thorpe got involved and things descended into chaos. Have a listen to the exchange that started this whole brouhaha.
I am very honoured that I live rent-free in Senator Hanson's mind, but I think you've got better things to do than worry about Section 44 here when there's nothing to see. I mean, the racism and comments and quotes that you've made in the past.
Senator Hanson.
I want to withdrawn that racism. It's not racism. I want it withdrawn. She has said, I believe we're in danger of being swamped by Asians. In her first speech. In 1998 policy speech, she said Aboriginality would no longer exist under her party's policies. In another statement, she says, we're bringing in people from South Africa at the moment. There's a huge amount coming into Australia who have disease. They've got AIDS. If that is not racist, what is it?
So that was the exchange. Now, you didn't hear Lydia Thorpe there. She did. She let her throwing and tearing do all the talking, and subsequently she's been suspended for 2 days, and the big players in the Senate have had their say. Here's Simon Birmingham.
In all aspects of life, there is always a time to draw a line in the sand, and I welcome the fact that this Senate has finally drawn a line in the sand to the reprehensible and repeated disruptive and disrespectful conduct of Senator Thorpe.
Here's Penny Wong.
This fortnight alone, the Senator has been censured by the Senate, sworn in the chamber, repeatedly made offensive gestures when leaving the chamber, and made comments resulting in First Nations senators from across this chamber feeling culturally unsafe. And all of that was prior to today's incident.
The most senior people and the adults in the room, as it turns out, in the Senate are South Australian senators. Lydia Thorpe spoke on the Today Show a short time ago.
It's been a horrible week, and when you're subjected to racism, which I have been since I was a kid, Carl, I stand up against it, and that's what I did. I ripped up a piece of paper because...
Do you regret that?
No, not at all.
Of course she doesn't regret it because she got on the Today Show, and we're talking about it. And our listeners are rightfully energised, and it's a delicate balance, isn't it? You want the conduct of people in the Senate to be something that's of public debate and for everyone to be transparent about it, but at the same time, it feels like a case of giving someone exactly what they want.
I'm no fan of any of these three, and I just sort of listen to that and I think, so how much money does it cost to fly them and their staff to Canberra?
Yes.
And put them up at, service departments in Kingston and Manuka, and then they go out and have dinner on the taxpayer in Griffith and, Deakin, all these flash restaurants, and head over to, maybe they go to the Mirror Book at the National Gallery, or maybe they just go and drink all the subsidised booze at the members' dining room. Like, do they have any idea what Australia is actually like at the moment?
Mm.
When you're talking about, people really, agonising over power bills, worried sick about whether rates are going to come down, the permanence of all of these inflation increases, like the whole thing is just farcical. But with Thorpe, though, of the three, you cannot have a place which is dedicated to discussion and the testing of ideas when it works. It's what it's meant to be about. The testing of ideas, competing ideas, where there's a sort of Sam and Ralph agree to disagree thing at the end of the day. You can't have a situation where you're actually... I mean, we're going to end up like Taiwan, where, you guys in TV land have your sort of, last zany story for the night. Let's see what happened in the Taiwanese parliament.
They're all punching on.
Yeah, there's chairs flying around. Giving people the finger, leaning over them, menacing language, throwing documents. Like that, as both Penny and Burmo said, that is a line that she's crossed over. But it's almost like since she's been cut loose, it's actually like she's not really a parliamentarian. It's like having some sort of mad uni trot who just goes to Parliament thinking, what kind of a stink can I bung on today?
Waiting for an opportunity. Well, I'll happily let one of the great political commentators of our time have the last word for me. Terry Stevens. 13 minutes to 9. It's time to check traffic. Black Friday sales now on at Barbecue Adelaide, Weber Stores, Jeps Cross and Milo. Minimum 10% off store-wide.
Thanks, Will. Still got those lights playing up this morning at Modbury North. That's North East Road near Golden Grove Road. Breakdown slowing things up at Glen Osmond, Cross Road near Glen Osmond Road with delays inbound. Slow for works at Cheltenham, Port Road near Cheltenham Parade. Busy South Road at Tonsley as you jump off the Southern Expressway with the camera Oak Ridge Road at Aberfoyle Park. Drop everything and save up to 60% off furniture with Amart's Black Friday sale. Save on a huge range of lounges, dining, bedroom, furniture and more. Stores are open until 9 tonight, so hurry into Amart. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Want a deal on a new VW? At Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, it's easy and you don't have to wait. Their 2024 plate clearance has started early. That means you can pick your dream Volkswagen. Easy. Check out the range of new and demo Volkswagens on sale now. All stock is ready for immediate delivery so you can pick up an early Christmas present. Plus, we have easy finance options and next day servicing. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen's 2024 plate clearance. You better be quick. Salisbury Highway, just a short drive from the city.
Welcome to Life's Key Moments, brought to you by First National Real Estate.
A key to my home where my furry friends are always welcome.
The key to endless adventures in my retirement.
The key to growing our own veggies and plenty of space for the kids to play.
The key to living the dream away from the big smoke.
The kids and girls night
Every night. Your key to happiness awaits. Visit firstnational.com.au or call 1800 032 332. First National Real Estate. We put you first.
If you're thinking of building or you're renovating your kitchen, you've got a lot of choices to make. But the first choice is easy. Smeg. We have an amazing Smeg showroom right here in Adelaide. Deputy Distributors, they're in Dudley Park. And inside you'll find the full Smeg range on display.
And what a range it is. Everything from ovens, cooktops, washers, dishwashers, fridges, wine cellars, kettles and toasters. Smeg pairs powerful performance seamlessly with architectural design. And what about the cooking demonstrations? They show you how to get the best out of your Smeg ovens and all the other Smeg gear. Smeg's been proudly made in Italia since 1948 and its colour design and technology is world famous.
Smeg, technology with style. Visit the Smeg showroom today at Deputy Distributors, Harrison Road, Dudley Park.
The Advertiser is giving you the chance to win a share of $50,000 in IGA gift cards to get your groceries on us this Christmas. Buy the paper, find the daily code word today and enter online. Conditions apply. SAT 24/1488.
The Australian Government's Future Made in Australia plan will create a stronger economy by making more things across our country. We'll make more of Australia's natural advantages and turn critical minerals into cleaner energy. We're investing in you to learn new skills and in manufacturing and technology to create well-paid jobs and a more secure future for everyone. That's a future made in Australia. To find out more about the plan, search Future Made in Australia. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
Good afternoon, passengers. Please have your boarding pass and identification ready.
Drive away in the Tucson Hybrid by Hyundai from just $46,990 drive away. T's and C's apply.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 to 9, we just step you through what took place in the Senate yesterday. Huge debate raging on the Duttons text line at the moment. 0480811395. Duttons car dealerships in the Adelaide Hills and Murray Bridge. They're easy to do business with. We wanted to speak to someone who was there as it all unfolded. South Australian Senator Karen Little joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Senator, good morning to you.
Good morning, and I've got to be really quick because the bells are actually ringing to make a decision on a motion that's currently about all of these issues. We've got 41 bills in front of us today, completely outrageous. We're opposed to it. The public should expect better than what we've been presented with in the last couple of days. And, of course, you know, then we had the issue with Lydia Thorpe. I've literally got 3 minutes to be in the chamber to vote to try and get some reasonable order. You know, we won't be taken for a ride, and this is just madness that on the last day of Parliament for bills that have been sitting on the notice paper for, in some cases, we've just had an admission for a year. We've got them all in front of us today. It's just madness.
Were you actually in there when all of this mayhem unfolded yesterday, Senator Little?
Yeah, look, it was all pretty quick, and it all happened very, very fast. And but you know, you kind of sit in the chamber at this time waiting for anything to happen, and that's the unfortunate thing. Instead of focusing on bills that are in the interest of Australians and being able to interrogate some of those bills that are coming before the Parliament, we're dealing with those kinds of matters, and it's just not good enough, and I think the Australian public should expect better from the organisation of its Parliament.
This is your workplace. Does it actually feel a bit intimidating when it gets to the point where people are like, you know, flipping the middle finger and chucking documents around? Is it a little bit unnerving?
Well, I'm not sure what the Australian public makes of that, but I see that as being, you know, I just get on with my job. That's just outrageous. It doesn't actually benefit any piece of legislation when people behave like that. And it's not the sort of place, you wouldn't see that in any other workplace. It's not acceptable in any other workplace in the country. So it shouldn't be acceptable in this workplace.
Yeah.
It's just as good as that for me. How would I like to be treated, whether I'm in Parliament or in a workplace? And that's the answer for me. Not good enough.
100%. Good on you, Karen. Karen Little there, Liberal Senator for South Australia. I'd hate to inflame the many no voters to the Voice. However, I would say that there's an Aboriginal man here in South Australia who gave us a pretty good insight into how to speak in a thoughtful and decorous way yesterday, and his name's Leroy Bilney from Ceduna. Now, you might have issues with the principles of the Voice and say, you know, one set of rules for one, not for the other, and I get that. But it wasn't a sort of tub-thumping denunciation of white Australia. It was practical outcomes.
Yes. What can you do in a policy sense?
Yeah.
Not stunts to
he
get
didn't come in like
breakfast
Karen
television shows.
Give us all the finger and say, you know, always was, always will be. Who did I say, sorry?
Karen.
Certainly not Karen. Apologies, Karen. Lydia.
That was weird to be quick with Karen Little, as you heard. The Senator had to go to the chamber and actually do work, which was excellent to hear. 6 minutes to 9. Tomorrow morning on the program, and indeed on 5AA right throughout the day, it's It's a huge day, and one we look forward to each and every year. It's when we circle in the calendar and put a huge amount of effort into it because it's massively important. We have our 10th annual FIVEAA Radio-thon taking place tomorrow, where we're broadcasting live from the airport all day. So if you're at the airport for whatever reason, perchance, you can come and say hi. But what we want you to do more than anything is donate to this wonderful cause, a Variety, the children's charity, who want to make, I love the message this year, they want to make sure every child, regardless of circumstance or disadvantage, enjoys Christmas this year. It's simple, and the ways in which you can get involved are numerous as well. You can go to the Variety SA Radio-thon webpage and bid on a whole range of items. The Jayco caravan, the camper van, should I say, the NRG solar panels, the Phil Hoffman Travel Mediterranean Cruise for two, the Australian Outdoor Kitchens. They're all on the Foodland Supermarket Facebook and YouTube live stream now. We love doing it. It's an incredibly fun and rewarding day. And you know what? You don't have to buy a kitchen either. You can participate in the meat tray. You can buy a raffle ticket. We're going to make sure there are ways that everyone listening can help donate and feel like they're part of a cause, because we've been part of it for 10 years. And as I say, it's something we circle on the calendar each and every year. And in part, it's because we get to meet people like David, who brought his daughter along, Michaela, last time, a recipient and beneficiary of the wonderful generosity of South Australians and Variety here in South Australia. And David called in because he wanted to share the message about the Radio-thon taking place tomorrow as well. David, good morning to you, mate, and thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, no worries, Dave and Will. It just felt like yesterday we were at the airport, me and Michaela, with you both doing such a great thing for Variety and with these kids with special needs and kids with disadvantage, you know, and I'm just wanted to ring up and let everyone know, you know, no matter how much they donate, $10, $100, whatever they can afford, it just changes these kids' lives, you know, and I just wanted to ring up and just congratulate FIVEAA and you two, especially for the effort you've put in, and Variety, a big special thanks to them as well.
Oh, mate, we don't need any congratulations for it. We love doing it, and it's such an important organisation, and it was great to meet you and Michaela last year when we did it. And it, as you say, like for a child like Michaela, it makes such a huge difference to their quality of life, doesn't it?
Ah, absolutely, you know. And every day we're in that pool, as I said, it's the most used pool in Adelaide, and it just brings a smile to her face. And even the other day, you know, Variety ran that Christmas party for the kids, and you just saw all the kids there so happy, and, you know, they do such a great job, Variety.
Yeah, 100%. Well, we're looking forward to doing it again tomorrow, Dave, and I hope that everyone heeds your message. We know that times are tough, but if anyone has any money to spare, and we know that there are some businesses that are actually doing reasonably well at the moment in the patchy economic landscape that we find ourselves in. So if everyone can dig deep, because there's no better organisation going around than Variety. Yep. We love working with them. Your old man's on fire. I'm loving the morning show. He had Alex Antic on yesterday about the social media stuff. So he's getting Antic to talk is surprisingly hard. He doesn't actually do many media interviews. So your dad's getting some really good yarns up already and doing a fantastic job.
He's coming up next, so stick around for that big show on the way. Tomorrow though, Radio-thon. Everyone's down there. It's going to be a big day. Support a great cause. You get to meet wonderful families, great parents like David, beautiful kids like Michaela, and there'll be more of that tomorrow morning. We'll catch you from the airport from 6 o'clock.
Hi, I'm Graham Goodings. On the show today, State Parliament's inquiry into grocery